What is up, my friends? You are all very welcome along to tonight's stream. And as always, I like to sit here and try and gauge the mood before we get underway. I love to have a look through the comments, see how people are feeling. And I think you're all feeling exactly how I'm feeling right now. Confused, emotionally drained, frustrated, and wondering what the hell is going on with Chelsea and where they're getting the money from. Our job tonight is to try and give you the answers to those questions, and that's exactly what we're going to try and do. So as always, this is your show. You let me know what you want to talk about, get stuff off your chest. Mods, tonight of all nights, give people a bit of leeway. People are going to need to vent. We're going to have to understand that. And right now, as I sit here, the honest truth is we aren't sure what's happening, because at 2 a.m. this morning, I recorded a video after David Ornstein gave us the "it's pretty much done." Deal was agreed. Players' wages weren't going to be an issue. They were a formality and a medical was being booked. Then I went to bed and I woke up, and much like all of you, have woke up to a very changed landscape. So what we're going to try and do tonight is fill you in on where we are and what may happen. First, a couple of thank yous. LFC since 73, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Electric Dreams, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. And Marcus, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. So thank you guys for that one. And I know that you guys think that I'm probably going to be angry tonight, but I'm struggling to find where that anger will be directed. And that's the God's honest truth. It's hard to sit here and be angry if we're willing to spend £111 million. But it's also fair to ask, how did we end up in this situation? How did we end up becoming a laughing stock in the window? And I guess that's what we're going to try and sort out tonight. So right now I've just got an alert to my phone to say that Fabrizio Romano says that Liverpool are now considering walking away from the Caicedo deal. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised that we bid if we didn't get assurances from the players' side. So we've a lot to go through. Stick with us. I'm gonna give you a time frame of what's happened, why certain journalists have gone to ground because they have, and where we're at. Colin said, disappointing and sad day for all of us. Upset with Lavia, journalists, Liverpool, and honestly just scared. Tell me there's some good news. There isn't much good news at the minute, unfortunately. So here's what we know. Chelsea have a deal agreed with Southampton for Lavia. They've put together, I think, a £55 million package that Southampton are willing to accept. So they have that part of that deal done, but they still obviously need to get the medical and the player sorted out. Now, a lot of people are wondering how we got to the situation where we agreed a deal with Brighton for Moises Caicedo. And here's what I want to know. So obviously Tony Bloom and Brighton are absolutely free to ask and dictate this transfer however they like. He's their player. But when you say we're going to have a cut-off point of midnight, and at midnight we want your best offers, and Liverpool put in an offer that was, I believe, £111 million. Chelsea couldn't match that offer financially because of profit and sustainability reasons. And then all of a sudden we get up today and it's a little bit different. Somehow Chelsea have found the money. They've pulled out of the Tyler Adams deal. But not only have they found the money, they found the money for Lavia as well. Now, look, it sounds like sour grapes, and I guess to an extent it is. But it's also a fair question to ask. How on earth have they found this money? Where has it come from? Because let's look at Chelsea objectively. Chelsea play in a stadium with about 42,000. So they haven't got a massive stadium that's bringing in super revenue. They also don't have any European football this season. They've also spent about 650 or 700 million already. Yes, they've brought in about 200 million or so from player sales, but once again we're now seeing them spending another 200 or 300. Elise, another one they're looking to get done. If the Premier League have any duty of care to the league, they're going to ask serious questions here, because this is the likes of spending we've never seen before. So, as I said when I started this, I'm a little bit unsure as to who to be angry at right now. Yes, you can make a valid claim. Why do we leave it this late for Caicedo? Why are we putting in a bid? Is there a bid gone in that FSG didn't expect to have to pay? Because that's another question that people are rightfully going to ask tonight. Did they put this bid in as a PR exercise? Did they always know that Caicedo was going to choose Chelsea? Truth is, I can't give you those answers just yet. But we can build up to how we got to here. I believe if we stick to our guns and let Chelsea take Lavia, then bid more for Caicedo, Chelsea might fold. We're stuck in a corner, we need to fight. So, another super chat. PR stunt from FSG, they knew he won't come. So, one other thing that's become apparently clear over the last 24 hours is that whoever represents Caicedo, the Ecuadorian agency that look after his interests, are known for being, shall I say, a little bit Clinty. See, I said Clinty there just to be sure. And I don't get it. I don't, like, objectively, hand on heart, maybe I'm biased. I probably am. But objectively, how on earth could you choose Chelsea over Liverpool unless it was for money reasons? We have a better team. We have a better manager. We are at least in Europe. We're far more stable. Our manager's been here 7 years. We know our manager will be here for another 3 years. I'm genuinely confused as to how and why a player would choose to go to Chelsea over Liverpool, especially if you look at the sheer volume of transfers that Chelsea have made and the players they've brought in. There's no continuity in that squad whatsoever. But if the player's made his mind up, I guess it'll come down to Tony Bloom and Brighton, because if you are a man of your word and you give a deadline and that deadline is reached, you know, you'd like to think he'd say to the player, they had their chance, we set a deadline, Liverpool met that deadline, you go to Liverpool or you stay at Brighton. But of course, as we all know, in this world, money talks and morals often walk. Right, another super chat to get through here. As long as Liverpool don't drop their bid, then I believe he's theirs. I don't think Chelsea can structure the deal in a way Brighton want. If we don't get him, we go straight to Florentino Luis. So one question a lot of people have asked is, can Chelsea improve on the bid? It looks like they're going to try, but last night there was a reason Liverpool went to 111 million. Because Liverpool knew anything over 100, 105 million lands Chelsea in trouble. And they knew Chelsea couldn't get to that number under the current profit and sustainability issues that they have. So this is going to be a watershed moment for the league in general. You know, even if you're not a Liverpool fan now and you want to just come in to have a laugh at us, I get it. That's what this is about. But there is going to be a watershed moment in the league here. Are the Premier League going to try and make this league sustainable, or is it just going to end up being one of those leagues where you can spend what you want? Because if they allow Todd Boehly and Chelsea to do what they are doing and continue to just pay ludicrous sums of money that there's no way on earth they're generating, I just don't understand it. I understand owners that spend way above the club's means, owners that have deep pockets. I get that. We've seen that before with Roman Abramovich. We've seen that with PSG. We've seen that with other clubs. But this is a whole new level. Like, I've been very critical of Manchester City time and time again for their financial shenanigans. But this is blatant. It's in the open. And it's just not realistic. There's no way that a club that are already under investigation from the previous owners for financial irregularities can somehow do this above board. I can't see how these numbers add up. And also, one thing that Todd Boehly and Chelsea have also shown the world is that they've got no morals. They've got no scruples when it comes to transfers. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I might be, and if I am, I apologise. But I don't think I am. Didn't they have a bid accepted for a midfielder from France during the week? Didn't they trigger Tyler Adams' release clause? Then all of a sudden, these guys are just left there as they put all their eggs back into a Caicedo basket. Clubs will get to the point where they don't want to deal with Todd Boehly and Chelsea because they can't take them at their word. I don't know if this helps us in any way. I truly don't. But I know that it's an absolute disgrace what's happening in the league. And as I said, I'm going to be honest, I don't know where my frustration should be aimed right now. Do I feel a little bit annoyed at our owners? Yes, but also at the same time, we've just seen these owners are willing to spend 111 million. And last night at 2 a.m, we thought this was a formality. Medical will be done. Caicedo will be a Liverpool player and it will be wrapped up by today. So again, it's difficult to know. His agency certainly looked like they're a little bit questionable, to say the least, in how they deal with things. Journalists have been scratching their heads. A lot of reputations on the line at the minute. I'm fine if he goes, just get Lavia, please, said somebody else. Well, on the Lavia thing, Chelsea have apparently agreed a fee with Southampton of about 55 million for Lavia. So, and this isn't a we want him instead of Caicedo bid. This has been reported as we want him on top of Caicedo. Crystal Perveral said, I read an article this morning that said Caicedo rejected Liverpool. He wants to play for Chelsea. There's something shady going on here. It feels that way, my friend Christian, doesn't it? I said Crystal, sorry buddy. Christian, my apologies. It feels that way, Christian. It feels like something doesn't add up here. Because one thing we know about Liverpool is we don't bid for players that we know don't want to join us. We just don't do it. We bid for Lavia because Lavia wanted to come. And I get the feeling that if we bid for Caicedo, Liverpool must have gotten an indication from somewhere that Caicedo was willing to make the move. Now, what's changed in the meantime? This is open for constructive debate because it feels like something stinks here. And can we get... I'm going to... First poll of the night. Ideally, I'd love my producer, if at all possible, to do these polls for me because I take too long to write. But we're going to start off with a poll. Really straightforward question. Does something feel fishy here with what's going on? Really straightforward question. Yes or no? Like last night, we had lots of polls, gave us lots of insight into how people are feeling. And this is how I gauge the fan reaction. This is why I want this to be an interactive show. I want you guys to have your say. I missed another super chat that I want to scroll back up to before I forget them. Joe Bullins, how are you, my friend? So the only thing that is embarrassing to me is many in our fan base crying about it, saying finished. The player doesn't want us, move on. They won't grab Lavia, so we grab Lavia, Burton and Asio. There is a lot of reactionary defeatist people in our fan base at times, Joe. And look, I find it often hard to criticise people, buddy, because I'm a man of emotion, you know that. But we're not finished. Far from it. It just doesn't feel right to me, what's going on here. Something stinks. And I'm very interested that Brighton have been very quiet on this. Darren Smith, thank you, said FSG bid for PR, knew we wanted Tchouaméni 2.0. We didn't bid for Tchouaméni though. That's the thing. We walked away from Tchouaméni. Now, I think Liverpool knew a bit earlier on Tchouaméni than they publicly said that he wanted Real Madrid. But we didn't bid. And Liverpool had booked a medical. So, as much as I'm not a fan of FSG, to say the least. I truly think they would have paid this money. I do. And I don't want to give them credit for stuff that they don't deserve credit for. I'm one of their biggest critics, but I do feel they would have paid this money. The question is, did they leave it too late? Was it a bit of desperation? And how did we get to this point in the window where we are 9th of August, 2 days away from us playing our first Premier League game? In fact, the Premier League itself has kicked off tonight. Manchester City and Burnley are playing. So how did we get here? This is what I want to know. It's crazy. Right, let's have a look at how this poll is doing. So we asked you guys, does something seem fishy here? 84% so far, with nearly 2,500 votes, have said yes, and 16% say no. Now, I'd really love the answer for why no. If you don't think something fishy is going on here, genuinely would love to know. Madistuda, I'm hearing he's doing a turn and is confused from Ecuador reports, said Madistuda. I thank you for that super chat, mate. So, James Pearce has just tweeted, and I'm going to read it out to you. Liverpool still in the race for Caicedo. It'll come down to what Chelsea do. As things stand, Liverpool's still the only club to have agreed a deal with Brighton. So that's just come out from Jimmy Pearce. And yeah, they can't sign a player without the other club agreeing. So, look, it's difficult because there's one part of us that wants the player. There's one part of us that want to put Chelsea in their place. There's one part of us that want to get this dude in. A big part of us. But you know what? There's another part of us that doesn't want somebody that doesn't want to be here. So what I'd like to do is let the player speak to Jurgen or let the player speak to the club and hear directly from him. Because right now it feels like his agent's fishing around for more money. Because that's all Chelsea can offer him, is more money. We're a better footballing project. We've a better manager. We're a bigger club. So I think Todd Bowley's just thrown the kitchen sink at this one. And also, Fabrizio Romano looks very, very like a man that has an agenda on this. Dare I say that? It feels like he's very, very, very pro-Chelsea on this. Like he's almost willing it. And it feels odd to me. There's a lot of stuff in this that just doesn't add up. And I've been in contact with journalists today who are equally as confused at what is actually going on. It's a sad day, said Alex Gomez. Thank you for your super chat, Alex. Sasha Joe said, if we had this money available, why did we go in for Bellingham? So that's one of the big questions. And Kloppo was asked that today in his press conference. The truth is, I don't know. I don't know the answer as to why we didn't go for Bellingham. Because it's been widely reported we walked away from this before Bellingham made his decision. And that's not me saying that. Go and look at many journalists. That's been written. Fabrizio doesn't lie. I mean, I'm not going to accuse anybody of lying, mate. What I'm accusing him of is potentially being in somebody's pocket. Bit different. Never accused the man of telling a lie. I'm saying that Fabrizio may have a certain agenda here. That's my reading of it. Chelsea are in direct contact with Brighton, said Chris Williams, and would like Liverpool to remove their bid. No indication that has happened or will at this stage. Liverpool reportedly happy to wait as they believe Chelsea cannot afford to sign both players and have bid on Lavia as a bargaining chip. So it's getting messy. It's getting worse than a soap opera. But I don't know how much our little hearts can take at this point. Like, when you're emotionally involved in this like we are as fans, this really has been a crazy last couple of days. Once our bid was in, Bloom spoke to Caicedo's team and got them to feign interest from the player, knowing he only wanted Chelsea, employed to force the price up, and it worked a treat. We got suckered. Well, it hasn't worked a treat yet because Chelsea can't match the bid yet, mate. So it's one thing Chelsea wanted the player and maybe being in his ear and maybe the player wanting them. But you do have to get an agreement with the selling club. And right now, Liverpool are the only ones with an agreement. And also, we didn't set the deadline. It wasn't Jurgen Klopp, FSG, George Schmadtke. It was Brighton themselves that set a deadline of midnight Thursday last night for highest bids. And Liverpool won that. Liverpool went in with a £111 million bid. And that number wasn't an accident. That number was because Liverpool knew Chelsea couldn't go above a certain number without falling into problems with profit and sustainability. So it was a very calculated number from Liverpool. Philip, how are you, mate? So big up, Craig. As a neutral, I do think you still get Caicedo. Stand firm. Chelsea are playing games. They want you to leave the table. Don't, and he's yours. So I'm honestly getting a pain in my backside with Todd Bowley. He is not a very likeable character. And again, this is showing Chelsea up as being very, very disloyal to certain players. What is Tyler Adams thinking right now? As he's done his medical, I believe, to become a Chelsea player. They triggered the release clause with Leeds. And now all of a sudden he's cast to the side because Chelsea want to try and gazump Liverpool. But then he sees them go and put a £55 million bid in for Lavia as well. It just, how many players do they need? Are the Premier League going to grow a pair here and say, look, this is not fair. This is not doable. This is not just. It's nuts. Think about this. Bowley and Chelsea could spend about 8 or 900 million in about 12 to 15 months. It's madness. Did you see Fabrizio's new post about Caicedo 4 minutes ago? No, I haven't. But in all honesty, anything he's posted about Caicedo has been very, 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 very pro-Chelsea. Chris Williams again saying, Liverpool, as per James Pearce, Liverpool have a deal with Brighton and that's the only factor for Brighton at the moment. So it looks like, as we sit here right now, Brighton are still holding firm. Brighton are still saying Liverpool are the only ones with an agreement. Late stream, if it's not sorted by 10, yes. You know me, I think I proved my worth last night. While others were sleeping and too lazy to make content, we were on here till 11 o'clock. We finished at 11 o'clock, we put out a video. We recorded a preview video for the Chelsea game. And then I was back on here at 2 a.m. recording another video. So you bet your backside, mate. If this goes late, I'll be here with you. Would love to see us grab a centre back as we wait and show them we're not letting it ride. Irritate them, show we're still doing it even with the bid on the table. Give a shout out to my dad Ravi who's watching. Ravi Swain, my friend, thank you for watching. I hope you're well. I do apologise, Ravi, if you hear some bad language tonight, mate, but it's getting a bit emotional. Something smells, nothing new. Well, yeah, it's usually me when something smells in my house, mate, but tonight, yeah. So, here's Brian, LFC USA. How are we, sir? And thank you for your, again, extremely generous super chat. It's an interesting that this 100 million seemed to become available after reports of Klopp being frustrated with transfers and potentially walking. Regardless of what happens, this is no excuse for us to be in this position at this stage of the summer. That is a point I absolutely agree with from Brian. However you view this subject, for Liverpool to be here now, on the eve of the Premier League kicking off for us, without any addition since the first week of the window, is unacceptable. It is unacceptable, and whether it's George Schmadtke, whether it's Jurgen Klopp, whether it's FSG, somebody needs to be answerable, because this is not good enough. I'm confused. What is unfair? Buying players, paying huge transfer fees? The unfairness, Michelle, is that there's no way Chelsea can afford this with what they earn. Let's be honest. We are the first football club to break the £100 million profit barrier. Liverpool Football Club. I think it was 2018 or 2019. Chelsea have been in all kinds of issues over the years. They were losing £900,000 a week on average for the 17 or so years Roman Abramovich owned the club. Then we see Todd Bowley come in and spend about 600 million on players. Then we see his friends in Saudi, and be under no mistake about this, I've mentioned this before, Clear Lake Capital, who are one of the investors in Chelsea, also have money invested in them from the PIF, I believe, which is the Saudi investment arm. So something about this doesn't make sense when all of a sudden Chelsea got a very handy 200 million to bring back in for the players. And of course they sold Havertz as well. But then again, they've gone out there now and committed what? About 800 or 900 million. Now you show me a Premier League club that can afford 800 or 900 million quid in transfers. Can afford it. Actually afford it. Under what they bring in and under what they put out. Because I'm telling you now, they don't have a big stadium. Stamford Bridge is only in the low 40s with regards to attendance. They have a lot of players on a lot of money on very long contracts. Look at Mudryk and the like, Enzo. So it's just unaffordable. Anybody with half a brain can see that there's no way Chelsea can actually afford to do this. Something stinks. Wonder, Netanya, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Bellingham's wages were too high. Hendo and Fabinho hadn't been sold when thinking of buying Bellingham. If not Caicedo, then go for Florentino Luis. I hope that that's what we do if we lose out in Caicedo, because I don't want us to go back in for Lavia. Because, and I know this sounds easy to say after the fact, but objectively, the fact that Liverpool had a number that they were willing to walk away from, I understand. Now, it's no good to us if we don't get the player. But to walk away at 46 million, I can understand that. Because I had I had a disagreement with somebody today over this. They said, why 46 million? Why not pay the extra 4? Well, we don't know that 40 wasn't the initial cut-off point. And then they pushed it to 46. But at some point in any negotiation, you have to walk away from a number that you're not comfortable with. If you were buying a house or you're buying a car at an auction, there's a number that you set yourself before you go in. And emotion can often take over, and sometimes you can go above that number. It happens. And I think Liverpool just decided that that much money for a 19-year-old kid with limited experience just didn't work. Now, it's not much use if you don't replace that with somebody else. So I'm not trying to make excuses for us. I'm just trying to explain why I think maybe there was a number we walked away from. Right, some more comments. Blatantly obvious that Chelsea have briefed some of the media here and think Caicedo wants to join Liverpool. His agent is saying Chelsea. There's something wrong with this, because there are definitely some very, 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 very pro this deal happening for Chelsea journalists right now. Like, there's very little objectivity from some of these journalists around this deal. So, Darmay Sheth of Sky Sports News has said Chelsea are actively working on a deal to sign Brighton midfielder Moises Caicedo. Fee could be worth a British record £115 million. Chelsea looking to get deal done in the coming hours. Now, this will come down to a couple of things. Are Brighton people of their word? Does Tony Bloom actually draw a line here and say, no, we set a deadline of midnight. Both clubs put their best foot forward. Liverpool won the bid. Caicedo goes to Liverpool or he stays here. But again, it's easy for me to sit here and say that, but I don't know what's happening. What I would like to know is, again, where are they getting the money? This is unacceptable, said Short Clips. It's Klopp and FSG's fault. Well, there is a combined failure, Arnold, yes. 120 million for Chelsea. I don't think it's going to be that high. But what I don't understand is, last night, Chelsea couldn't go above 100. That was the number that would have landed. Anything over that would have landed them in problems. So today they've walked out of Tyler Adams' deal. Pulled out of that. Understandable. So in theory that frees up 25 million, right? But they've also just had a 55 million quid offer accepted for Lavia from Southampton. So they're 30 million worse off than they were before they couldn't afford to match Liverpool's 111. How does this work? That is the basic question that I'm putting forward here. How does that work? So next poll was, is there hope? We've had 3,500 votes. 44% of people say yes, 56% say no. I'm going to end that poll and ask you guys what you would like to see happen. So Mr. Producer Man in the background, if you could get creative with that one, that would be helpful. Appreciate all of your help tonight. The team in the background are working their socks off. Anthony Doyle said FSG embarrassed us this year by being cheapskates. It doesn't look great when you've missed out on Tchouaméni. You've missed out on Bellingham. You've missed out on Mbappe. You've missed out on potentially Caicedo. It doesn't look great for the owners. And we warned this yesterday. We did say to everybody yesterday that if we don't pull this off, this is going to look very, very bad for FSG. Because there'll be a lot of people thinking that this was a smokescreen. There'll be a lot of people thinking they knew that they didn't have to spend this money. Now, what I refuse to believe is that Jurgen Klopp would be willing to accept that, because he needs players. We are very close to 10,000 live viewers again. If you guys haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do. It's been an unbelievable 24 hours. This story has more twists and turns to come over the coming hour, hour and a half. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us. We'll keep you up to date. As soon as something breaks, we'll be letting you know. I've my WhatsApp open. I'm waiting for some words back from a few journalists, and I feel like we're going to get a conclusion to this story tonight. Bulldog Mayonnaise said Caicedo's agreed terms with Chelsea since May. Yeah, but Chelsea haven't agreed terms with Brighton. That was the key to this. What confuses me though was last night, and there was another super chat I need to get to before I missed them. John W. Henry doubles down because he hates Todd Bowley. Oisin, I can't be the only one that thinks that. There was a big part of me last night that wondered, has John W. Henry just had enough of Bowley? Because he's come into the league and honestly, he's like that show off in your group of mates that just got daddy's credit card and just goes around spunking money. It's not realistic. It's not sustainable. He has guys in there on 6, 7, 8 year contracts on huge money. Callum Spence said, do you still want him though if he'd rather have Chelsea than the mid-table with no Europe? I'd love to know if it's him or his agent. Truly. If he comes out and says he wants Chelsea, then I would be in the camp of I don't want a player who doesn't want to be here. Truly, I would. But you have to ask yourself why Liverpool went to the point of bidding. Because you don't bid for players unless you know the player will make the move. That's a pretty straightforward thing in transfer market. You just don't bid unless you know the player is open to the move. So Liverpool would have got an indication from somewhere that the player was willing to move. Or they wouldn't have done the bid. It's that simple. Listen to Klopp this morning. He answers all of us. The club has a deal agreed, but players don't know, Craig. You know what that means. Klopp knows. No, I think Klopp was genuinely just being honest. Because at that point, that's all that had happened. We did have an agreement with Brighton for 111 million. And again, I'm going to say to you guys, the 111 million was no accident. So Ian Doyle has also posted, Ian Doyle of the Echo, said Liverpool have not walked away from their bid for Caicedo. It seems Chelsea and Liverpool are now embroiled in a remarkable game of brinksmanship over Caicedo and Lavia. If Chelsea want both, they'll have to spend around 165 million, which is a lot for two players in the same position, on top of the fact that they have Enzo Fernandez in there. Now, again, I want to ask you guys, am I imagining this, or did they have a bid accepted for a French holding midfielder during the week? On top of Tyler Adams. So Chelsea are turning into an absolute joke. They're going around making bids for players, getting fees agreed, triggering release clauses, and then walking away. Clubs are going to get fed up of this. Because, again, it's very unprofessional, as well as being questionable financially. Paul Joyce said that Brighton will listen to further bids. Do you think we'll get them? If Brighton listen to further bids, then they themselves are partly to blame in all of this. Now, look, you can say Brighton want the most money. I get that. I do understand that. But they paid £4.5 million for this kid from an Ecuadorian side. They have a 20% sell-on clause on top of that. So 20% of anything above £4.5 million will be going back to that club in Ecuador. But they are the ones who set the deadline. They said highest bids by midnight. And Liverpool put forth their best bid. Again, if you're somebody buying a house and the estate agent says sealed bids, best offer by midday today, you put your envelope in with your best offer, like it's done in boxing. When boxing, sometimes you see things go to purse bids. Promoters have to put forward their best bid for the fight, and whoever's the highest number wins the fight. Nobody goes back and changes their mind. Nobody goes back and goes, no, you know what, actually, we want to go again because we didn't win. That's tough. That's the way the world works. But I'm interested to see if Tony Bloom and Brighton are of their word. People knew the player didn't want us, Craig. It was written all over his face. This was how dare you bid for Lavia. I don't think that Liverpool would want to commit £111 million just to say, how dare you bid for Lavia. It would have been far cheaper to just get to the 50 if we really wanted Lavia. So I don't buy into that train of thought, if I'm being honest with you. I don't. I also want to know how this is actually affordable, because it isn't. Keshran said, hey Craig, well done on stream numbers, legend, FSGO all the way. Why didn't they start in June, July? Why risk the fans and players' moods on the eve of a new season? Looks like we're headed for third, fourth choice DM. It's embarrassing. Whatever way you look at this, Keshran, and thank you for your super chat, my friend. Whatever way you look at this, it is embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the football club. It's embarrassing for us fans. It's embarrassing for our manager. But also, and look, I'm a Liverpool fan, so I'm well aware people are going to say I'm biased. And of course I am. But objectively, I don't understand how Chelsea are a better proposition for anybody. Really, I don't. I think we're a better squad. We've a better manager. We've European football. We've a better set of fans. We've a nicer stadium. Like, objectively, when I look at this, everything points to Liverpool being a better decision. So I truly don't know how we are in this predicament right now. But, as has been pointed out right now, This is a very, very high level game of brinksmanship between Liverpool and Chelsea, involving two young men, one 21 years of age, one 19 years of age, and a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot to say the biggest number. You know what I mean? Anybody can just keep going higher and higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. But at some point, somebody's going to have to say, can you afford this? Because they clearly can't. No European football this year. None. I don't get it. I do not understand how this is affordable to Chelsea. I'm struggling to understand how it's affordable to us, and I've been moaning at FSG for a long time. But this would have seen us get to nearly 200 million. And yes, we would have gotten back in about 55. So about 150 million net spend. And this would have been a once in a generation window for us. But yet Todd Boehly, off the back of a £600 million window, is coming in with another 200 or 300 million. It is lunacy. Hi Craig, if you get Valverde for around 50 million, this drama will be a distant memory. So, I mean, the next question that I would like to ask you guys is, what would you do if this falls through, if you're Liverpool? Do you go for Fabio Luis? Do you test Real Madrid's resolve with Tchouaméni? Would you go for Barella? I cannot see us going for Barella at this level of number. Because at least with Caicedo or Lavia or, Tchouaméni, you're bringing in somebody who has 10 to 14 years left in the game. If you brought in Barella, it'd be great. Don't get me wrong, a player right in the middle of his prime, but I struggle to see how our owners would sanction that. We know they like an old potential for a bit of profit down the line. Todd is a front man. The Saudis actually own Chelsea, said Connoisseur. I don't know, but I know Clearlake Capital does have some investment from the PIF. See, remember when I warned people about the money, the state ownership, the pissing contests? Do you remember when I warned everybody for a long time about that? This is what happens. You get to a situation where rationality goes out the window and it becomes a pissing contest. And that's what this seems to be right now. John W. Henry and Todd Boehly staring each other down. Who blinks? I guess we're going to find out, but history so far has taught us that Chelsea don't like to lose bidding wars, and so far they haven't. Hoary chips, and don't forget, do hit the subscribe button, friends, if you're with us. Lots of stuff is going to be happening over the next hour. Do not go anywhere. We're going to keep you covered. It's a pleasure being here with you all tonight. I am confused. I didn't know whether to be angry, sad, frustrated. I'm all of the above. But my first priority is to let you guys vent and have your say, because I know there's a lot of frustrated people right now. Did I miss another super chat there? I think I did. Hoary Chips 2 said, Chelsea only have money to offer and that's why it's fishy. Liverpool need to stick to the bid and again see what happens. It is fishy, right? It stinks. It stinks. Josh Cleary, thank you for your super chat, mate. You didn't put in a comment, but appreciate you. Nothing to do with money, pal. He wanted to play for Chelsea. Simple as that. I mean, it kind of is to do with money, mate. So I get what you're saying. And look, sometimes players want to play for other clubs, but it isn't sour grapes purely because of that. Like, do you think it's normal for a club to spend 800 or 900 million in a year and a half? So if look, what I struggle to agree with an Irish Penguin is, why would Liverpool put a bid in for a player that didn't want to come? It just doesn't add up. I thought our bid was legally binding. I don't know is the answer. Because, again, all I know is what you know. That Brighton set a cut-off point of midnight last night, Thursday, for highest bids. Liverpool put their bid in at 111 million. It was accepted. The player was due for a medical today. And as per David Ornstein, personal terms are going to be no problem. That's what he said. So we all made the video. And now we're here going, where are we now? How are we here? Right. I'm waiting for the Paul Joyce tweet from my guys in the background. Bear with me. It's odd that Romano would press the issue when Caicedo follows Chelsea on Twitter when he already had been for months. Yeah. It's not great, is it? One sec. No, it's not that one. I'm still waiting for an update here. One second. Sasha Vader said, Lavia would be smart to see what they're doing to Adams. Yes. Did FSG do this so we don't spend, though? Nah, they're not going to get away with it, mate. Because now we know they have money. Other clubs know they have money. So, nah, I can't see that being the case. I can't see this just being FSG blag, because it's going to backfire in a massive way. Right, Paul Joyce has tweeted. This is what Paul Joyce has had to say. Liverpool believe Chelsea are struggling to find an agreement with Brighton and are not walking away from Caicedo. So Paul Joyce saying Liverpool are not walking away. Let me repeat that, motherfuckers. Liverpool are not walking away from Caicedo. Liverpool, according to Paul Joyce, feel that Chelsea just don't have the money. So let's wait and see. People need to realise that Fabrizio is much more London-based than they think. Without going into too much information, I'm aware. Right, let's get rid of this poll. It's had nearly 5,000 votes. What would you like to do next? Hold out for Caicedo, 30%. Go for Lavia and a centre-back, 31%. Spend on other targets, 39%. Right, more of your comments. We won't give up, said Jacob. And also, let me just say one thing. Thank you so much to everyone that is watching with us, that is hitting the like button, that is hitting the subscribe button. We're on the march to 200,000. We're less than 10,000 away. If you haven't taken that 1 second to hit that subscribe button, please do. Craig, 4 evenings in a row, you missed my super chats. You might have noticed, Jeff, but it's pretty busy, dude. And I'm hardly doing it on purpose. Like, I literally haven't read out any other comment that isn't the super chat in the last 15, 20 minutes. So, I haven't doing it on purpose. I do apologise. And at least, unlike some other creators, mate, I'll acknowledge my errors and mistakes, but I ain't doing it on purpose. I'm going back through to try and figure them all out. Angry Brit said... What? No, I'm not reading that out. Sorry, I'm not reading it on anti... I know you sent a super chat, mate, but I'm not reading it out because it's just an anti-American sentiment and I'm not buying into it. Dan Watson said, people may want to actually go and look at Chelsea's financials over the past few years. Hardly anything due to sales overall. Also new owner rules. Done that one. Obey, thank you for your super chat. I'm scrolling back through all of these, mate, and I'm not seeing the one I've missed. So again, don't know what I've missed. Why making bid the last 2 days before a game? I guess Brighton wanted an end to this by a certain date. Look, there's a lot of uncertainty here. Like, you've got top tier journalists unsure what the hell's going on. So again, a lot of the Chelsea based journalists now saying Chelsea said to make a new bid that either matches or beats 111 million. But my point here is, how can you make another bid after a deadline has passed? That's what I don't get. I don't understand it. Because if Liverpool backed away now, let's say, for instance, Chelsea put in a £111 million bid. If Liverpool walked away, are Chelsea going to lower that bid to say, nah, actually 100? Because we know the player only wants us. It's very confusing, honestly. I'm trying to figure out where we're at. If Chelsea get Caicedo and Lavia, will they be reprimanded by the Premier League? And if not, what's the point in having FFP in the first place, said Jason. So... It's a bit weird, dude. In a week where they're already under investigation for potential financial irregularities from previous owners, that they've gotten away with 600 million and now they're seemingly getting away with another 200 or 300 million. But I'm getting people in my chat that are so... Watch your words here. I'm getting people in my chat trying to tell me I'm being salty. Again, I'm going to say, if you claim to love our sport and give a damn, how are you just accepting this? How are you accepting that £1 billion almost can be spent on transfers and we're all supposed to think it's above board? But no other club can do it. Manchester United, Real Madrid, the two biggest generators of money in the world, can't do it. But Chelsea, with their 40,000 stadium, no European football, and having already spent 700 odd million, can do it. And I'm supposed to just be salty? Grow up. It stinks. Paul Close, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you. So many comments to get through here. Greetings from the USA, Craig. You're my goat when Liverpool news and supporters are concerned. I feel Chelsea's taking the piss to get us to walk away from Caicedo. Much love your way. Thank you, Christian. And look, we're very, very lucky to have such great support from American Reds, mate, and it means a lot to us. We seriously hope to get over there and say hi soon. Chelsea are definitely like... Todd Bowley's like that kid who doesn't hear the word no. You know, he's never had his mammy tell him he can't have something, or that, you know, you have to budget or save your pocket money. He's like that arrogant twat that just never hears the word no, that just wants to keep saying higher numbers and then figure out how he can afford it. Remember, bid in for a French midfielder, offer accepted, triggered release clause for Tyler Adams. Adams has had his medical, no interest, Lavia bid rejected. Now all of a sudden 55 million Lavia bid and looking for 115 million just because Todd doesn't like to lose a little battle. It's weird. What if we lost out on Lavia and Caicedo? Now what? That's the $64,000 question. What would you guys do? If we lost out on both of these tonight, if by the time the clock strikes 11 p.m. tonight, Chelsea are going to sign both of these, it's a fair question. What on earth do we do? Surely now, if I'm Caicedo, seeing Lavia potentially going to Chelsea would make him change his mind and go to Liverpool. But look, it's a fair question to ask. Is somebody not going to look at this situation and think, am I going to get playing time? Because remember, they don't have Europe. So Chelsea squad has the Premier League, the FA Cup and the League Cup. That is the extent of Chelsea's season. And they have an extremely bloated squad. Players on 6, 7, 8, potentially 9-year contracts. But again, I'm just being salty because I'm asking valid questions. Where's the info from Paul Joyce? I've already read it out, mate. Liverpool believe Caicedo are struggling to find an agreement, Liverpool believe Chelsea are struggling to find an agreement with Brighton and are not walking away from signing Moises Caicedo. That's the Paul Joyce information. I'm a Boston Red Sox fan and Liverpool FSG continue to break my heart, said Christopher Alcott. It's frustrating as hell, mate, what's going on right now. And I think a lot of us are just wondering where our frustration needs to be aimed. Brighton want the money too. Well, they're getting 111 million. And my point again would be, nobody forced Brighton to set that deadline last night. Brighton set the deadline. Both clubs put forward their best bids. Liverpool won that process. And all of a sudden now Chelsea want to change the rules of engagement. It's very weird. It's unprecedented, but it's kind of why we love and hate this transfer window, right? This is what can happen. Check Decore. Yes, look, Decore could be still an option. You could test Real Madrid's resolve for Tchouaméni, albeit Tchouaméni's made it pretty clear he wants to stay there. You could look at Florentino Luis from Benfica. You could, and I don't think we will do this, but you could turn your attention to Barella. There's there's a lot. There's a lot of potential, but a lot of unknowns as well. Ian said, for me, it's got to be Thuram and or Kone, if not this. Paul, you didn't put a comment in, buddy. You put a super chat in. Thank you so much. Paul Sandronicus. Thank you, buddy. But no comment, but I appreciate your support. Dirty Scum Agent getting a pretty penny behind the scenes. So did you guys see the feedback from Brighton fans about the agent of Caicedo? Let me find this in my notes here and I'll read it out to you. Bear with me 1 second. So, Melissa Reddy put out a post that said, Brighton and Paul Barber in particular previously flagged that he doesn't receive the best possible advice from those guiding him. Anyone who has worked with Caicedo will testify his character is different to his agent. This was then retweeted by, this is spot on, by a guy called Ryan Ansett. Moises Caicedo's agents have been the worst manipulators I've seen. What he thinks isn't what's being reported. Again, a lot of dubious stuff going on here. I'm wondering, do you watch GAA? Sometimes, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan. If it's on, I'll watch it a little bit. Pavard and Palhinha. Isn't Palhinha out for 6 months though, Ali? I think Palhinha dislocated his shoulder and is out for 6 months. So, 1 second here. I'm going through this list of players. So this is the transfers that Chelsea have made. Bear with me. You'll find this interesting. Christopher Nkunku, 60 million euro. Axel Diassi, 45 million euro. Nicholas Jackson, 37 million euro. Leslie Okonchukwu, 27 million euro. Robert Sanchez, 23 million euro. Angelino, 15 million. Enzo Fernandez, 121 million euro. Wesley Fofana, 80 million euro. Mudryk, 70 million euro. Kukureya, 65 million euro. Sterling, 56 million euro. Badishili, 38 million euro. Kalidou Koulibaly, 38 million euro. 35 million euro for Madueke. Gusto, 30 million euro. Chukwuemeka, 18 million euro. Santos, 12.5 million euro. Aubameyang, 12 million euro. Fofana, 12 million euro. João Felix, a loan fee of 11 million euro. Another keeper came in for 9 million euro called Stonanina. And Zakaria, a loan fee of 3 million euro. But there's just saltiness for me because that's all completely normal behaviour and definitely behaviour of a club that are fighting within their means financially. Definitely. If Caicedo wants mid-table football on a 6-year contract, let him have it. We need players ASAP, and lurking around this deal could potentially cost us. It's a very, very, very dangerous strategy right now. It is a high-level game of brinksmanship. You're right. It is. It's a high-level risk. You're right. We could end up losing not only the player that we tried to gazum Chelsea for, but the backup player that we initially had bids in for. So you're right. You tried to hijack Chelsea, but you can't hijack the hijackers. I mean, fair. That's proper banter. Krishan, I appreciate it, Kishan, excuse me. That's proper banter, mate. Nothing wrong with that. But it is weird, right? Kishan, even like, it's just mad money. Madness, like. But you didn't say the outgoings. I did. I told you Chelsea brought in about 200 million from potential sales to Saudi. I covered that earlier on, mate. 200 million and 800 million don't add up to an affordable number, really, let's be honest. And also, how are they getting all these guys in their squad? A lot of these people are going to have very unhappy agents because they won't be in Premier League squads. On a different note, I can't be the only one who's a little bit relieved to see Harry Kane going to Bayern Munich. I was a bit worried then about United. So the fact he's gone to Bayern Munich makes me a lot happier because he's a goal machine. Chelsea ain't even got a shirt sponsor. Oh, mate. I forgot about that. 40,000 seater stadium, no shirt sponsor, 7 or 800 million in transfers, no European football. I forgot about the shirt sponsor thing. What do you think of Kimmich? Heard that Bayern are looking to raise funds. I think they'd ask a stupid amount of money for Joshua Kimmich, but I'm a fan. Always been a fan of Kimmich, but again, there's a reason Liverpool were willing to go to the number that they have for Caicedo, and his age had a good part to play here. Obviously, his underlying numbers as well, but the fact that he's young, the fact that he's, potentially sellable in 5 or 6 years. Now, look, I'm going to be honest and say we had a conversation probably a couple of weeks ago on the channel where people said, would you take Caicedo? And I said no. Hear me out. And I said no because I'd be worried if we signed him that he'd be twerking for Real Madrid or somebody else if they came sniffing around. That was my big concern. Now we've agreed a fee for him. We haven't even signed him and he's already still twerking. So it is very confusing. And it's not a great look. I'm sure it makes for great viewing. I'm sure it's doing great numbers for everyone. But it's a weird situation to be in as a fan. We lose Klopp this season. He looked bewildered and a bit annoyed today. He will lose the greatest generational manager since whiskey knows. Terrible, just terrible. Sad FSG out. Jay, I'm FSG out regardless. Even if we get Caicedo, I'm still FSG out. Because this didn't need to happen. We did not need to be in this situation. Check Chelsea's hard drive. I mean, I love that you guys still have your humour, so thank you. Ella said, listen to you while at the Bowes match, Craig. You're more entertaining. Chelsea are pure cheating, in my opinion. Where are they getting the money from? Well, that's a good question, Ella, and we would all love to know, my friend, where they're getting that money from. Ian said, Chelsea equals last season Nottingham Forest, just more money. This is the strangest transfer I've ever seen, said Lucas. We don't care about Chelsea and what they're doing, said Egan Adams. Well, I am relieved that Liverpool haven't pulled their offer. It is, at least from a point of view of having a pair of balls, I'm glad that we've continued to put our offer there because we think Chelsea are spoofing it, that they can't afford the numbers that they're mentioning. Nick said, as a United fan, gutted no late bid for Kane, but then again we had to wait to sell Fred before bidding for Amrabat. I was petrified, Nick, that you would sign him. I think you've got a good player in Højlund. I think he'll come good and maybe take a while, but yeah, I was worried, dude, that you'd sign Kane because he's guaranteed 30-35 goals a season. We should have got Jude. Right, that's going to be the next poll question. 1 second. Right, next question was, are you confused that we were willing to pay this money but walked away from Bellingham without bidding? Because it's the question that was asked most to me from fans over the past 24 hours, Liverpool fans. Why are we doing this? Why are we paying potentially 111 million but we walked away from Bellingham? Now, my only thought process on this is, after signing the players we signed, McAllister and Szoboszlai, I would say a different profile of player to Bellingham is required. Now, I can't tell you why Liverpool weren't willing to pay the money for Bellingham. I truly can't. But I can tell you that right now, a Caicedo type of signing would make a lot more sense given that we've brought in 2 front-footed number 10s. So, this is... what gets me on this is there's a lot of people being very defeatist right now. Like, we don't know. I don't know either way. I don't know if we'll get him or we won't. I truly don't. But I'm not throwing the towel in. A lot of Liverpool fans just want to throw their hands up in the air now and let Chelsea have their way. And I'm glad that the people who are negotiating are holding their nerve right now. Chelsea raised over 220 million in sales this summer alone. Yeah, nobody denied that. Absolutely. But again, 600 million... And what they've spent this summer, let's say they bring in Caicedo and Lavia and the players they've already brought in. We're already way past your 200 million. that you've brought back in. So you're already still into fantasy numbers that they can't afford. So I get it, but the numbers don't add up. 700 or 800 million minus 200 million still adds up to a number they can't afford. The funds from Fabinho and Henderson helped bring in more money. Yes, there was that as well. There was that. Now, something caught my eye today. Jurgen Klopp said that they didn't expect the bids to come in for Fabinho and Henderson. Henderson, I agree, but there's no way that he wasn't expecting the Fabinho bid, because I knew about that bid coming a month before. And if you don't believe me, watch the channel. Go back and look at it. We told you there was going to be a bid coming in because Nuno had worked with Fabinho in Rio Ave in Portugal, first club in Europe. And we knew that bid was coming. I didn't think they were going to pay as much as they did, and I'm glad that we took the money. But whatever way we dress this up, we are still in a position here as we approach 9:30 on Wednesday the 9th of August, before the Premier League gets underway, where we've signed 2 players and lost 8. So whatever happens, right now, that's the predicament we're in. They're called Man Chelsea City, said Mark Bavin. VI Jokers, member for 4 months, said Sunday's game, Liverpool and Chelsea, is going to be tasty. It is. It's going to be very tasty. And you'd almost forget that there was a game coming up, mate, wouldn't you? Because of all these shenanigans. So I can't tell you some of the stuff that's in my Discord or in my WhatsApp currently, because it's sensitive information. But let's just say that a lot of us feel like there's some manipulation in the media going on around this. Nick said, talking of Amrabat, even though we're apparently only once United, you could see Liverpool trying to sneak in from... No, not the right profile. We need somebody... No disrespect to Amrabat, because I think he's a good player, but we need somebody levels above him at this point. Surely Chelsea aren't going for Lavia and Caicedo together. Well, they are. Right now, they've got, according to reports, a bid accepted with Southampton with a 52 to 55 million pound package. So that's been reported. So, and they're still trying to get a bid together for Caicedo to match our bid. It's... I'm just baffled, lads. I'm truly, truly baffled at what's happening. You just made me curious. Look, there's a lot of us wondering, like, some of this stuff doesn't add up to me. And I know a fair few people in the media. Not as many as I'd like to, but a few. And there's a lot of people scratching their heads right now, wondering how we got from that David Ornstein article in The Athletic to now. Where, let me read this out for you. We spoke about this earlier on, but I'm going to read it out for you again. 1 second. It's in my list here. I've got so many messages, lads. Right, so this is from the article last night in The Athletic. You can go have a look at it yourself if you don't, Do you know, by the way, you can read some of The Athletic articles without a subscription. Some of them are subscription only, some of them you can read. This one said, Liverpool reached agreement to sign Brighton midfielder for 110 million. Liverpool have reached an agreement via David Ornstein on The Athletic with Brighton and Hove Albion to sign Caicedo for a British record 110 million. This is the important part. Brighton held an auction with a midnight cut-off on Thursday with Liverpool the highest bidders. Chelsea's bid for the 21-year-old was 100 million. So, again, they set the terms of the auction. We won the auction. So, I'm unsure about Brighton's stance in this. This is actually the part of this I'd love to get a clear indication from. Are Brighton holding their nerve? Or are they happily going to take more money from Chelsea? Truly, I've seen mixed reviews from journalists on it. I mean, I don't know why you're putting this in as breaking news about that Ornstein thing, mate. That's about 5 hours old, and he did that on ESPN in America, so that's an old bit of news. You missed my previous super chat. My apologies, bud. Let me scroll back up. Richard, let me scroll up, dude. I know what your profile picture looks like, so bear with me, man. Scrolling, Richard, here, trying to find it, bud. If any... Inabber, you're in. How are you? We still have the smallest squad in the Premier League. We need some rebuild. Yes, we do. 22 men in our squad, mate. Nowhere near enough. I can't find that super chat, buddy. I'm going to see if one of my mods can find it and send it in to me. So I apologise I missed it, Richard. I'm trying to scroll back to find it. So if anybody can help me with Richard's super chat, please do, because I hate missing them. So yeah, what Inabber said is a very important point. We do currently have the smallest registered squad in the Premier League with 22 names. 22. We've also signed less players than 17 other Premier League clubs. Ryan White said, it's simple. Chelsea have overstretched their finances, making tons of side quest signings for Strasbourg, etc. Liverpool have slashed their wage bill, received big fees. We have the advantage, said Ryan White. Fab got community notes checked on Twitter. I don't know what that means. Fab got community notes. I'm unsure on that one, Jack. Phenom, thank you. You put in a super chat, but you didn't put in a comment, mate. No, we've already done that one. Yeah. No, hang on. So, new bid from Chelsea for Caicedo, according to DiMarzio, who I believe is well wrapped up with Fabrizio, if I'm not mistaken. Not being sent yet. It's expected for tomorrow. Parties confident to get it done soon after player refused Liverpool. I mean, this certain section of the media are very, 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 very Chelsea-centric around this. And I'm saying it stinks, basically. I am. I'm saying that there is vested interest somewhere here. It doesn't sit right with me. Oh, so community notes on Twitter is where users add context to a tweet, i.e. this is fake, here's what actually happened. Ah, okay. And I'll tell you what though, I am pretty disappointed so many Liverpool fans just given up. I'm glad that those people aren't in these negotiations, because it's a pretty high level of brinksmanship right now. And part of me loves it. Like, part of me really, really does love a good deal. But I'm also really, really scared. I think maybe they're bluffing about bidding for Lavia in order to get us to walk away from Caicedo. That's the kind of shady thing they do. I don't know, but Liverpool are trying to call their bluff on it, mate. And again, they'll have alienated Lavia if that's the case, and they'll have alienated Southampton. They'll have alienated Leeds and Tyler Adams. They'll have alienated the club in France that they agreed a holding midfield deal for as well. What happened with Kone and Thuram links? Thuram, apparently, we didn't like the numbers. That's what was reported. We didn't like the wages and we didn't like the fee. Thuram, I don't know, since the Euros when he picked up an injury. This stinks all around. It does stink. It does stink. Lavia, 48 million bid from Chelsea. No, that's days old. That was rejected. Chelsea have had a bid of 52 to 55 million for Lavia agreed, apparently. That old bid was rejected. Do you think Caicedo will come to Liverpool if Chelsea don't bid or stay? I mean, there's two parts to that, right? One, do you want them still? Which clearly the club do. And what also confuses me is, if the player so badly wants Chelsea and has made it so clear, why haven't Liverpool removed their bid? Somebody answer me that one. I'd love this to be clipped for Twitter as well if one of the lads is watching in the background. If Chelsea are so confirmed and adamant that the player only wants to go to Chelsea, why are Liverpool still at the table? And why have Liverpool not walked away? Remember, James Pearce, Paul Joyce, Ian Doyle all said Liverpool aren't walking away from their bid. So I find it very difficult to make this add up if Liverpool are being told by the player he don't want to be here. We've heard Jurgen Klopp say many, many times he doesn't want players that don't want to be at the club. That's why this all feels a little bit shady to me. James said, whoever gifted me a sub, thanks. Did you see Paul Joyce said Liverpool are staying in as they believe Chelsea are struggling to agree? Yeah, we went through that a while ago, mate. Let me read that out in its entirety for you. So this said, Liverpool believe Chelsea are struggling to find an agreement with Brighton and are not walking away from signing Caicedo. Not in all caps there from Paul Joyce. Or excuse me, from the lads who tweeted the Paul Joyce quote, excuse me. Surely Fabrizio saying he only wants Chelsea is interesting. Look, I've got to bite my tongue on what I think about Fabrizio's conduct throughout this potential transfer. It's I'm biting my tongue on it because I don't want to get in trouble. Did you miss my super chat too? Said Paul Andronicus. No, I'm fairly certain I read out your name earlier on, mate. But let me just go back through it. Fairly sure I read out yours, Paul. Incoming Liverpool agree 100 million for 33-year-old Joe Allen. No, he's too busy farming chickens still, dude. Chelsea messing with the media. It definitely feels like the London-based journalists are very much rooting for Chelsea to get this done. Joe Grassick, welcome to Anfield Agenda Ultras, mate. Appreciate you. Don't forget, my friends, if you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do. I'm just going to check my WhatsApp here. We are 200 subscribers away from 191. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, guys, please do. Really would make the world a difference to us. Yeah, so the feeling from our guys in the background here that are, and our team have been reaching out to friendly journalists and stuff. The feeling is we don't think it's a case of he only wants Chelsea. Maybe he has a preference, but our gut feeling is that Liverpool wouldn't still be at the table if they knew definitively there's no way the player would come. That's our feeling at the minute. Matt Schaub said, sorry for that, been at work all day, so playing catch up with the transfer. Dude, all good, my friend. That's what we're here to do. We're here to try and keep you guys up to date with what is happening. And of course to... sorry, I've got to remove some people here who are just being plain rude, mate. There's no need to be rude to me or anybody. Have I been rude to you? Mutt Super Chat, Caicedo should grow a pair and fire his agent, said JC Galvanil. If he wants to move to London over Liverpool, then fair enough. Why doesn't he just say that? That's what a lot of us are confused about, mate. Exactly that. Like, Liverpool aren't going to stay in for a player that has shown no indication he wants to move. Stephen Lee Reggae Dragon, how are we, my friend? Said, as a fan, I feel defeated. I also hate players who don't want to be a Red. I want us to move on and get somebody else who wants to be here. Look, there's a huge part of me, Stephen, that agrees with you. I don't like players not wanting to crawl over broken glass, to come and play for the Reds, to come and play at Anfield, to come and play for Jurgen, to be part of this new rebuild. People should be chomping at the bit to want to come and play for us. I'm with you on that one. Caicedo followed Chelsea on Instagram today. Again, I'd be questioning if that's actually him running that account, but again, that's just a guess or a genuine question. We should not want Caicedo if he doesn't want us, said Pascal Brown. But that's my big question here. I don't think... I can't see a world that we'd be still at the table if the player said he's not moving. Like, if he says to Liverpool, I don't care what bid you get, agreed, I am not moving. Why would Liverpool still be here? It just doesn't add up. I'd love Chelsea to offer 115 and then us to offer 116. And by the Instagram thing was fake. That was one of the things Fabrizio Romano lied about, apparently. Again, I'm just passing in information. So apparently he didn't follow Chelsea on Instagram today, and that was one of the things that Fabrizio was pulled up on. Now, as I've said all along, there's been some stuff from journalists in this that has stunk to high heavens for me. I've been in and around the content world for 7 or 8 years now. I've seen many a transfer window, following it on the channel, reading it as a fan, and some of the behaviour of certain journalists throughout the last 48 hours has left a lot to be desired. It's almost like there's an agenda being driven to a certain angle, and it just doesn't feel right. Dom was a perfect example of all this stuff he said about being so excited to come in and anxious to play. I love that from Soboslai, said Colin. Yeah, so do I. There's some things I can't say. There's certain things that I know that I can't say. And unfortunately, I have to hold it at that, because I'm not going to get us into legal trouble. But I'm going to just say that. There's certain things I can't say. What's my gut feeling, said TJD. My gut feeling, and remember, this is exactly what he's asked for. My gut feeling, not saying this is factual, just my feeling. I get the feeling that John W. Henry has just had enough of Todd Boehly. That's my opinion. I said it last night. I get the feeling that he's just had enough of Boehly coming in and acting very irrationally and inflating the market even more. Newcastle and City haven't done it in this window. City previously, yes, but in this window, with the money they earned last year, I think City have been fairly reasonable in what they've spent in this window. Newcastle, again, have only spent what they could afford. And Chelsea are a club with no European football and a small stadium. It just doesn't make sense. Am I good at charades? No, I'm not. And I'm not good at biting my tongue either, which is making this very, very hard to not tell you what I know. Mickham said, since Chelsea started with their Lavia bid, FSG need to wait until they see Chelsea stepping back from Lavia. I'm unsure. Like, the fact Liverpool aren't walking away from this deal is very interesting to me. We're closing in on 191, by the way. We're only 120 subscribers away from 191k. So if you haven't hit the subscribe button, my friends, please do. He agreed to join Chelsea in May. That's great. But you know what didn't happen in May? Chelsea agreeing a fee with Brighton. So you could look at it one of two ways. You could look at it absolutely that Chelsea have tickled his balls all summer and want the player. Or you could look at it that they were huffing and puffing and Liverpool came in with a serious bid and got it accepted. So you could look at it through either eyes. If he didn't want to come to us, we wouldn't pursue him, said Thomas Craig. And I genuinely think there's something to that, mate. I do. Like, whatever. Like, we're not idiots. As a club, we're not idiots. And Liverpool genuinely bid for players when they know the player's interested. Otherwise, you just become a laughingstock. Ali A said Romano was a Chelsea agenda. He was inserting Chelsea's name in Mbappe's videos with a straight face as if he would ever look at them. Again, how do I say this, Ali? I don't disagree with you, but I have to be very careful in what I say. But I don't disagree with you. Scrolling back through. James, you said I missed your super chat. I scroll back up, dude, and I can't see it. I'm even going back through here to try and find it, mate, and I can't see it. So, if anybody can find me, James' super chat, please do. James LFC86, because I can't find it for the life of me. Craig, what do you know? Literally told you I can't say it, mate, because I have the livelihoods of my team to think of. I'm not getting us into legal trouble. Craig, if you're being honest, what do you think happens? By the way, big fan, keep up the work. If I'm being honest, what do you think happens? And thank you for your comment, by the way. You're not a fan, you're a mate, Junad. We don't have fans. I'm a normal dude. You're all mates here. What do I think happens? I think we get him. That's just a guess. And it is a guess. But you asked me for my honest opinion, and that's my honest opinion. I think we get him. Welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, Michael Coulson. Appreciate you. Do you know something we don't know? Well, yes. Of course. But I don't know something you don't know about this transfer. Like, I don't know which way he's going one way or the other. That I don't know. But I do know things that I can't say. But not about this precise transfer. More about the agenda. Let me say this. And I'm choosing my words very carefully. There are certain journalists over the past 72 hours who have put their credibility on the line. I think it's apparent to a lot of people what I'm talking about. But again, I'm going to leave it there because I don't want to get in trouble. All in for Tchouaméni. We got the money for it. Problem is, I don't think Tchouaméni wants to move to Liverpool. He wanted to go to Real Madrid. That was very clear. And I'm fair with that. You know, he wanted to move to Real Madrid at the time. Real Madrid paid up the money and they got their man. They got the deal done. And you've even seen him liking posts this summer, I believe, that suggested that he wants to stay at Real Madrid. So I don't really think that, as much as I'd love him, and I'm sure Klopp would, I don't think that's a viable alternative. And again, the club can't afford another PR mess like we've seen. By the way, thank you. A lot of people in the chat there were looking out for me, saying, relax, Craig, don't say what'll get you in trouble. A little bit of Irish thrown in there as well. BQ-ness. I love it. And do you know what? I love you for that. I genuinely like that people have my best interests at heart in the chat. You know, I'll tell you as much as I can all the time. But, you know, there are some things that just get you in trouble. And I don't want to. I don't have deep enough pockets to be getting into legal battles. Is it a good or a bad thing? It's a thing. I mean, I guess whether it's good or bad depends on your viewpoint on it. Fab is the GOAT. No, he's not. I am. New to the channel, Ryan Soso. Welcome in, dude. You know, welcome in. Sorry, I'm reading a WhatsApp message. Bear with me. Cool. Check Decore instead. Get him a left-sided centre-back. Look, Decore's a fine player. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was Crystal Palace Player of the Season. But what also will happen here as well that we have to remember is, if we are to buy somebody, let's say Decore or somebody, they have to replace them as well. So the later this goes, the higher the prices will go, because these clubs have to be able to find replacements. Are we near 191k? One sec. Let me check that. We're 39 subscribers away from 191k. So do hit that button if you're new. Curtis Pace, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Is Decore even all that? He's a good player. He was Palace's Player of the Season. And I wouldn't put him on the level of Caicedo, if I'm being really honest with you. But he is a good player. Limerick in the house. Cypher, how are you? Welcome in. Why does Chelsea just not put a bid in? Something's fishy. It stinks, mate. The whole thing stinks. And do you know what we've heard? And this is an honest question. All day we've been told what Chelsea are going to do, right? All day. From a selection of journalists, we've been told what they're going to do. Do you know what they haven't done? Put the fucking bid in. That's what they haven't done. We've been spending all day being told about what they're going to do. That they're preparing a bid. Where's the bid? Where's the 115 million that's been spoken about? Because I haven't heard a confirmation that this bid has gone in. Sorry, I'm making sure I haven't missed any more comments. There's one. How do you line up the midfield with a CDM of your choice? I mean, you'd have to go with McAllister and Szoboszlai ahead of whoever the defensive midfielder is moving forward. And then let Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, fight for their spot in those front two places as well. Let's just use the money to buy Manu Kone and Thuram. Can I ask you guys a question on Manu Kone? What's his injury situation? Because I have to be honest, I haven't paid much attention to Manu Kone since he picked up that injury for France in the Euros. Great content as always, Craig. Thanks for going above and beyond the last 24 hours, pal. Whatever happens, always behind the players and manager. Thank you, Darren. That's really lovely of you, mate. And so am I. But it's so close though, Darren, right? Because let's say we get this done. If we got that done, this rebuild is a generational defining rebuild. It is a rebuild that we couldn't dare to dream of. Imagine, as I said last night, Caicedo, Szoboszlai, McAllister. That is exceptional business if we can get it done. Craig, I just tweeted you. I'm not on Twitter, mate. I've said this before. People still think I'm the one behind our Twitter account. I don't even have the login to the Anfield Agenda Twitter account. Because 6,000 votes, by the way, on Are You Confused? Why Not Bid for Jude? Yes or no? 55% said yes, you're confused. 45% said no, they're not confused. We'll end that poll. Yeah, sorry, I'm genuinely have nothing to do with the Twitter account, mate. Connor and our new producer are the ones behind the Twitter account. I don't have access to any of Anfield Agenda socials by design because I don't want to. Because my mental health suffers if I'm on social media. This is my social media. You guys. Kieran, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Kieran Dunn, thank you so much, mate. And don't forget, those who are members of Anfield Agenda FC or Anfield Agenda Ultras, a couple of things that you guys get. What you do get is, you get the Anfield Agenda logo beside your name. You get all the custom emojis. You also get yourselves into being able to watch back all of these late night streams. We put them on members only once we're finished with them. Those in the Anfield Agenda Ultras membership, you guys get a link to our Discord group. If you are an Anfield Agenda Ultras member, just make sure that you check the membership part of the YouTube channel. You'll see it there. Custom wallpapers that our guys are designing as well. And I think I've remembered everything there. Christian, thank you again, mate. You've been so kind tonight with those super chats, my friend. And what a beard. Can I say that, Christian? I've got beard envy, dude. That's a magnificent beard. Sometimes it's best if we bite our tongues and keep our opinions to ourselves. Take care of you and your team. Don't want to see you guys in trouble. Thank you, bud. And that's why, you know, I'm kind of proud of myself, because a year ago, I probably would have blabbed. A year ago, I probably would have gotten us into trouble. But now I'm biting my tongue because I've got people's livelihoods at stake. Reagan Garrity said, I thought it was reported that FSG would only put in a bid of over 100 million if the player was interested in the move. Something smells fishy. Again, I think that's spot on. We wouldn't bid if we didn't have an indication he'd come. We just look like mugs. Hey Craig, as a United fan, love you and the community. Thank you, Titan man. Look, I've always said this. On the pitch, I want United to be destroyed. I want to hammer you 7-0. Also, I'll be honest, when I've had some problems in my life and I've had some mental health troubles, Manchester United fans reached out in their numbers to support me. Say, we don't like your club, but we do enjoy your content. And I'll never forget that. We want you to do shit on the pitch, but I'm very proud that we have people who do put aside their club allegiances and come in, and everybody's welcome in our community, mate. Everybody. What centre-back and CDM would be realistic for Liverpool to sign, said Turfer. The centre-back thing is... God, we haven't even had that conversation. For a centre-back... Look... It's weird because we had extra money we didn't know we were going to have. So every fibre of me wants to say we should have went for Gvardiol. Truly, I still don't understand why we didn't do that. Because he's a Liverpool fan. He would have come. Yes, City got the player and they've got themselves a very good player. But I don't understand why we weren't in that conversation. And after that, I'm genuinely confused. Because... Inacio's still sitting there. The kid at Benfica's still there. Perishures is still there. Van de Ven's already gone to Spurs. So that's done. They paid, 40, 45 for him. So I'm truly at a loss. Mark Gay at Crystal Palace is still there. A CDM... Florentino Luis from Benfica, if we don't get. Caicedo would be my personal favourite. I don't... Look... Actually, I'm going to ask you guys a question. 1 sec. I'm going to get a poll in because... Let me just get this poll up. Right, so I'm simply going to ask you, do you think Liverpool will go back in for Lavia? Regardless of what else happens here, will Liverpool go back for Lavia? Yes or no? Now, bear in mind, Chelsea have an agreement with Southampton. So do you think this is a game of brinksmanship and we could see Liverpool end up trying to get back in for somebody? Or do you think Chelsea may end up with both? Barella would be great, but I just don't see FSG sanctioning the money for a 27-year-old who would have very little to no sell-on value. And that's before you talk about whether he'd want to leave Inter. Craig Caicedo will choose Liverpool, said Benedict. I can't lie, I would take Lavia over Caicedo, said SGT Seam. Stephen Dunn, how are you, my friend? Said, it's scary how big this little channels of yours has grown, Craig. 3 years I'm watching and very proud of both you, yourself and Connor. Stephen, it scares the living hell out of me, dude. Like, when I look down and see 9,000 people right now in the live chat, I don't know what I've done to deserve it. I'm infinitely grateful for it, but I try to block out the numbers, dude, because it just scares the shit out of me. Opinion on this absolute U-turn. What U-turn? Fits. That's not me trying to be a smart aleck. Genuinely, have I missed something? Or which U-turn? The spending money U-turn? My opinion is it's great if it works out. Like, we seen with Szoboszlai that we acted very quickly just before his release clause became null and void, and Leipzig would have asked for more money. And we got that done really quickly. And it seems like, if I'm looking at this from the outside, my inclination would be to say that Liverpool got wind that Brighton were setting a deadline. And it turns out, as David Ornstein said, that deadline was set at midnight last night for best offers. And I think Liverpool said, let's sit down and calculate what we think Chelsea can go up to. What's their maximum before they get themselves in trouble? And let's outbid them. And let's try and get this player. And let's try and wrap it up quickly. Get him signed, sealed and delivered in 24, 48 hours. So we did that. We put the bid in. We had the highest bid at 111 million. And after that, your guess is as good as mine. But that's what I think. And again, just an opinion, that's what I think led us to this point. Gary Havey said, I think Chelsea are hoping Liverpool will pull their offer to clear the path to sign Caicedo. I agree. But my question is, what happens if they do that? And what happens with Lavia then? Because they'll have left Lavia high and dry. They could have left Tyler Adams high and dry. And again, I'm sorry for re-asking this question. Maybe one of my producers in the background can help me out with this. I'm almost certain I seen that Chelsea had agreed a fee with a French club, not just for the centre-back from Monaco, but for a holding midfield player as well during the week. I just can't think of his name. Got it. It's because you're an absolutely amazing legend. Thank you, man. I'm just little old me. Well, not so little, but just me, man. Do you know what, Mark? The live show last week, my favourite part of that whole show was the 45 minutes afterwards where I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I walked off the stage, went down into the crowd, and we started talking. And I looked up, and I was talking to one person. I looked up, and there was a queue of about 40 or 50 people who wanted to get a photo with me and tell me their story about how they came to watch the channel. And that, to me, was the most emotional part of all of this, because I got to hear people's journeys to the channel, how some tough times brought them here, or how they've shared good times with us. And it was the first time I've really given myself any credit for what we're doing, because to see the community aspect really come true, it's a big thing to me. I started my journey to meet people out of anxiety and isolation. So to be sitting here now with 9,000 something people in the live chat, from going from being somebody who used a fake name on Twitter because I didn't want people to know who I was because I was so nervous and anxious, to be here. I don't know how we got here, but I won't let you guys down. That's what I can say. Sean Ledwidge, thank you, buddy. The only time I'll ever let you down is when I try to pronounce a foreigner's name that's signed for us or playing for an opposition team. Because we all know if there's one thing I'm consistent at, it's butchering pronunciations. Craig, City won 3-0. How do you feel? Not surprised, to be fair. You know, was always going to... Sorry, I'm just reading a note here passed into me. I'm very confused. Again, there's still talk for this potential bid that's coming in from Chelsea. Still hasn't arrived yet. Queen Nadra, this Todd Bowley dude is clueless. You will not succeed with having every player in your team. He has zero ball knowledge. Well, we've got to remember, Queen Nadra, that this lad definitely isn't a genius. He wanted a 4-4-3 formation. He thought that he could sneak an extra player in there. Look, he just strikes me as an arrogant clown. That's my interpretation of Bowley, who doesn't understand the word no. What do I think of Kamada? Solid, but not of interest to us. What do you think of going back in for Thuram? So, I do agree with having a number that you're willing to go to and walking away from it. I do. And the response from Thuram was that, I can't remember which journalist said this, that Liverpool just viewed the deal as too expensive. So yeah, Chelsea, I wasn't imagining this, by the way. Chelsea completed the signing of Leslie, Ugachukwu from Ron for 23.5 million. So they've already brought in one holding midfield player. Then they've gone out there and put in an offer for 3 more. So Ivan, friend of the channel, Ivan Schwackhoff, how are we, Ivan, said, "You've been an absolute embarrassment at Fabrizio Romano. Regarding this Caicedo deal, you have a clear agenda towards Liverpool because you can't take not getting exclusives regarding them." He said, "I expect a reply." He got a reply. Fabrizio said, "Really, after saying and deleting that he was travelling to undergo medical tests, you're thinking of me? You should text Caicedo. It's him who wants to join Chelsea. When McAllister picked Liverpool over Chelsea and another club, I was a fan, right?" I agree with Ivan. I think he's left a lot to be desired with this, but I think, again, some people think we're all thick as football fans and we can't see through some of the bullshit. Pay Madrid 100 million for Tchouaméni, says Julio Nunes. I don't think he'd move. That's the problem. You might get Madrid to listen, but I don't think Tchouaméni wants to leave Madrid. Truly, I don't. Craig, Anfield Agenda is class. So glad I found it. Keep up the good work, Trevor Gibson. Thank you, mate. It's you guys that make it class. I say this all the time. I have an easy job. I read comments. I just be me. You guys are what makes it class. Right. Breaking news, the deadline is now 2:30 tomorrow. And where is this? Like, I'm not denying this, but where is it coming from? One sec. Somebody else said, well, Caicedo was just after the money. And then Fabrizio said, and what's the point of accusing me? I'm not Caicedo, unfortunately. Again, plain dumb there, Fabrizio. I mean, look, again, I'm just going to bite my tongue. But if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. A week ago, we were all worried that FSG had 45 million. At least now we know we have at least 110 million. And by the way, people have often asked me why I don't get the likes of Fabrizio Romano on the channel or other journalists on the channel. I've been really honest about why all along. I'm not going to pay them for stuff that I know that the best information goes to the highest bidder. I'm not going to be involved in that process. I'll happily wait 10 minutes and get the information when it's public knowledge. I don't want to play into this celebrity nonsense of journalists. Do you think Caicedo was worth over 110 million? 100 million % no. He is not. But then again, either was Rice, neither was Enzo. Darwin wasn't worth what we paid for him. So I don't think he's worth it, but I think all those people that are only too happy to blow smoke up Saudi's ass and Qatar's ass and all these lunatics throwing around way too much money, this is what happens. This is where we end up. We end up in a situation where the numbers being thrown around are so astronomical that it becomes dangerous. We can afford this as a club because we have moved a ton of money off the wage bill. But I'd say we're coming close. I'd say this is us literally looking down the back of the sofa. And we're a well-run club that generates a lot of cash. And we can just about afford this. So I don't understand logically, as somebody who has a rational thought process, how on earth Chelsea are getting away with it. I don't understand it. And I don't understand how some people can just go with this salty argument. You either care about the sport or you don't. And caring about the sport means at some point you're going to have to put your club allegiance to the side and look at the big picture. And I'm scared for the game. I'm genuinely concerned that this is going to turn into a pissing contest and that some clubs are going to end up out of business or in obscene amounts of debt or relegated down to the divisions. Because at some point, the rug will be pulled out. Owners will get bored. Look at PSG right now. Qatar came in there and they invested an ungodly amount of money. They brought in Neymar, they brought in Messi, they brought in Mbappe, they brought in Verratti, they brought in Donnarumma, they brought in Ramos, they brought in everybody that you can think of. And they still didn't get the Champions League. So what have they done? They've changed direction massively. They're losing Mbappe on a free, by the way things look. They're moved Messi off to Inter Milan. Neymar is going to head out the door. They've had to strip the club back and come out with this PR gaff that they want young, hungry French players. Because it didn't work. And that could be a Premier League club, but it could be worse. We could have an owner like that throws a load of money at something that doesn't work, and then they start asset stripping. David Lynch has said Liverpool aren't withdrawing from the race for Caicedo just yet. Chelsea are going to have to come up with that bid. Again, all day we've been told about this bid, but there is no bid yet. So again, somebody's talking a lot of pony because 115 million numbers being bandied around, but I don't see a confirmation of that bid being received. Whitehammer said, genuinely can't believe he turned Klopp down. Dude, look, this is biased because I'm a Liverpool fan, but I can't for the life of me believe that Caicedo is not looking at this situation going, McAllister's there, I've worked with him, he's class. They've brought in Szoboszlai, they've got Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson, Jurgen Klopp, a new stand about to be unveiled to make 61,000 capacity. We will be back in the Champions League. I can't believe he's looking at this situation and thinking Chelsea's a better fit. The only way that makes any sense to me is if Todd Bowley has promised an obscene amount of wages or an obscene amount of signing on money for an agent. That is the only part of this that I can come to terms with. The rest of it doesn't make sense. Because there's not a whole lot of attractiveness about Chelsea right now, is there? The club's scattergun. They finished 12th. Players were revolting at the end of last season, coming out and criticising the club from top to bottom. Players are going to be unable to be registered, potentially, for the season. There are players signed left, right and centre. 4 or 5 defensive midfielders could be in the squad. There's just no stability there. So it doesn't make sense. Unless you're an extreme mercenary. JC Galvanil said, where's your comment gone, bud? Chelsea will need money for another manager once Poch loses a few games. Yeah, remember when they brought in the kid from Brighton, when they brought in, what's his name again? He's fucking, what's his name? Oh my God, this is the blank on the screen. Potter. When they brought in Graham Potter, they were staying behind him, remember? Staying loyal to him. This wasn't a one season thing. We're giving him the time to develop his squad. Dude was gone before the season was out. So, strategically and logically, I don't get it. How Caicedo could look at this and think that they're a better footballing project. I don't get it. Loving the new graphics, mate. Looks very nice. Thank you. again, big shout out to the team behind the scenes on that. They worked so hard to get us ready for the new launch. If Chelsea don't come up with the bid, that's basically it. I don't know, but there's been a lot of talk. Craig DeMarzio said the bid was coming tomorrow. I can show you 10 people that said the bid was coming today. So rather than pick out the one thing that suits the narrative maybe you're trying to push, again, this bid's been talked about all day. And the deadline was midnight last night. That was the deadline that was set by Brighton. Not confident for the game on Sunday, unfortunately. I am. I think we beat Chelsea on Sunday. I just think we're better than Chelsea. I just think we're better, truly. I think we've got more cohesion in our team, and I think we beat them at Stamford Bridge. Darren Cottrell, thank you, buddy, for joining Anfield Agenda Ultras. Appreciate your support. You are suffering from obsessive compulsive Chelsea syndrome. You do realise the rest of the world is sitting back and laughing at Chelsea, mate, right? At this state of what they're doing. Like, there's nothing to be proud of here as a Chelsea fan. If anything, you should be embarrassed that you're in this position with Caicedo. Florentino Luis, Andre and a centre-back, said Dale Garcia. Love that. Would be very happy with that. Weirdly though, I haven't seen any sincere links to us with Florentino Luis. Other than us fans wanting it to happen. What's your starting lineup for Sunday? There's a video up on the channel, mate. I did the preview. Happy to go back through it real quickly for you, but I'd rather you watched it. Alisson, Trent, Robbo, Van Dijk, Konate, McAllister in the 6 for me. Szoboszlai and Jones in midfield. I'd go with Gakpo through the centre, Salah on the right and Lucho on the left. I know that sounds harsh on Jota, but I think coming off the bench he'd have a bigger impact in this game, and we need to be defending from the front, hence why I went with Gakpo. Lance said, any embargo news? I'm waiting for it. 10 minutes and we get the embargoed stuff, so stay with us. Stefan said, can't wait for the sharp goal from you on Sunday. Golazzo! Oh, Stefan, is it? Stefan, sorry. I've been waiting all summer, mate, for the season to get back underway. I'm buzzing for Sunday. What's my name? Craig. Julio said, the Ecuadorian media is ripping Caicedo apart. What's the deal with Fabrizio? So, I don't know how to answer the second part of that, because I don't know what exact part you want to know. The first part, I don't think it's Caicedo as much as it's his agent. Like, speak to Brighton fans or read their comments and they would say the same. His agent has been an absolute clown for a long time, apparently. But thank you in the super chat. What's this one? So somebody asked, a guy called Sean asked, what's your opinion on the latest 24 hours to David Lynch? Surely Liverpool would still not be there if they didn't have some sort of assurance from the player. And then David Lynch said, I doubt they would discourage, but transfers are a game and everybody's out for themselves. I don't know what to read into that. But again, we're getting close to the 10:30 news story, so stay with us because we will update you as soon as they come out. Thanks, sorry I'm new. All good, and welcome in, Anime Gamer. Welcome in. It's great to have you with us and thank you for your support. Caicedo wants Liverpool, said Catherine Paul. His agent's the problem. So, it's so hard to look at this objectively because of course we're emotionally invested. But I still stand over what I say. Why would Liverpool be still at the table if the player had told them he's no interest? We wouldn't. So, again, I feel that there have been narratives created here to try and bluff Liverpool out of this situation, and Liverpool aren't. Now look, people have said about Caicedo following people or posting this or that. Wouldn't be very hard for him to come out and say, I only want to go to Chelsea on social media, would it? You know, wouldn't be hard. If he really wanted to force it through and only go to Chelsea, very easy to put out a post. Very easy to jump on his phone and say, flattered by the interest of Liverpool, but I want to go to Chelsea, if that's the case. But it hasn't happened. All we've had is people with vested interests trying to push their side of a narrative. Liverpool trying to push their side, Chelsea trying to push their side, Liverpool-centric journalists pushing one side, London-based journalists perhaps pushing another side. Cheers for the super chat that I didn't read out, mate, because you're an asshole, but thanks for the money. Appreciate you. I'll have a special little drinky poo on your little bitter Chelsea heart. God bless you. Players never do that online. Really? I mean, I don't know what else to say to you, mate. Like, if you think it's done and dusted and he only wants Chelsea, then fair enough. But again, we're the only ones with a bid accepted right now. So I'm being honest and telling you I don't know. But I'm just trying to look at it from every possible angle. Callum said, hi Craig, there was a report I saw earlier that shows how desperate Chelsea are, considering they were trying to offer players to Brighton earlier on. Oh, they're desperate. They're desperate. Someone said, don't be mad at Chelsea, Craig. I'm mad because your owner's a lunatic, mate, and they're just throwing money around like a drunken sailor. But it's not my club that's going to be in potential problem, so I'm good. Ivan's been back in. He said, I've seriously rattled you, by the way, Fabrizio. That one touched the nerve. It needed saying. I like Ivan tonight. I like it. Well played, Ivan. Well played. Here we go. Spice bag and a hot whiskey. Thank you very much, mate. I don't drink whiskey, though. Yeah. Last time I drank whiskey, I ended up asleep in the front garden. And I was a young man. Craig, how are you keeping your cool? I'm fuming. I have to, Dammy, because I have a job to do here. You know, I have to keep you guys up to date with what's going on. I need to try and stay as objectively calm as I can. And right now, I'm just trying to stick to what we know, what's factual, because there's a lot of conjecture. There's a lot of unknown right now. And unlike when I'm watching a game of football and I'm angry at a referee, I can see what's happening. Now, this has just been, honestly, outside of the Super League, this has been the most crazy 24 hours I can remember supporting Liverpool Football Club. And I still don't know how this ends up. Fabio Carvalho liked Fabrizio's post about us missing out on Caicedo. Thoughts? There's something doesn't feel right about Carvalho and what happened at Liverpool. I said it when he went to Leipzig on loan. It felt like there was an underlying frustration. And I can kind of understand it, to be fair. Like, we don't know why Jurgen Klopp decided that Carvalho was going to go on loan and didn't get that many minutes last season. We don't see what the manager might see on the training pitch. And I don't know Carvalho as a man at all. But it does feel like there was more than a loan. I'd be extremely surprised if Carvalho ends up back at Liverpool. It does feel like that's a temporary solution and a full solution will be coming. But you know what? I also think the kid is a good footballer. So I'm equally as confused about why we bought him if we didn't have a plan for him. So I kind of get his frustration to some extent. James H said, the longer this goes on, we're still in this. Where's this Chelsea bid? Said Copbite. It still hasn't materialised, mate. Danny Todd, thank you, buddy, for your super chat, although you put a comment in. So people are saying Lynch tweet. team, could we get a look at David Lynch and see if there's a tweet I need to know about? By the way, can we get some love hearts in the chat for the lads in the background? They have been working their backsides off to keep you informed on social media, to keep me informed on here, to get the graphics done. I'm incredibly proud of the team. I don't deserve them. They're amazing. And without them, I wouldn't be able to come on here and do what I do. So thank you to our team behind the scenes. Rappulers Elite said, Chelsea don't have the money to trump Caicedo bid. They want Poole to walk away so they can get him cheaper. It's kind of my feeling as well. So, Ian Doyle has said, Liverpool are refusing to walk away from a deal for Caicedo. Chelsea are preparing an offer of 115 million, but it isn't as straightforward as that, with FFP penalties a consideration. So again, Liverpool remaining bullish right now. And we are getting close to that 10:30 news. And thank you for all the love hearts in the chat, by the way, for the lads. I know they'll appreciate that in the background. I see that there was a certain somebody talking a load of pony again on social media about snakes and ladders and whatnot. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me fucking laugh. I do wish Brighton would just put out Chelsea's fire. That's something that's been bugging me as well, dude, all day today. I genuinely love to hear from Brighton on this. I really would. Mike Clark, thank you for a super chat, mate. Appreciate you. Do keep hitting that subscribe button though, my friends, as we move closer to the magical 200,000 subscribers. Fabio, how are you, sir? Say, hey Craig, big love from South Africa. Can't understand why FSG were sitting on half our war chest for the whole window. Failed to prepare, etc. Very fair point, Fabio. I think it's confused a lot of us, mate. I think a lot of Liverpool fans now are wondering, like, why so late? But also, if you go late and you get it, it feels good, doesn't it? Like the Szoboszlai stuff feels amazing. When Szoboszlai happened and we did it so quickly, it's just a buzz, right? It's amazing. And last night, whatever you think, if you were still up at 2 o'clock when you seen that David Ornstein Athletic article, you can't tell me your heart wasn't filled full of happiness when you seen that. Because I was nearly close to tears with happiness last night at 2 a.m. Seeing that news, hearing that there wasn't going to be a problem with personal terms, that Liverpool had booked a medical, that Liverpool had sanctioned a £111 million deal, the biggest deal in our club's history. It's been nuts. It's been really, really difficult to figure this out rationally, like, because I don't think this is a rational situation. I don't think people are acting rationally in this situation. I think we're acting far more rationally than Chelsea are, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that I really don't like Chelsea. Like, I really don't like Chelsea. Like, I've been to games with Liverpool and Chelsea. I've seen the arrogance from some of their fans, the belittling of Scousers, the waving of money in the air like Scousers haven't seen a pound before. So I don't like them. I didn't like the way they treated that PSG fan on the train. I don't like a lot of their fan base, although they do have some nice fans who I know. So I'm kind of a little bit more invested in this as well because I don't like them. I don't. I really don't. So a little bit from Paul Joyce here, but it's just more about Thiago. He said, Jurgen Klopp says Thiago will stay at Liverpool. He's now training. He came in and asked about his role and we spoke. Super experienced player. He stepped up in that department. He's only been in team training for a week, but very vocal. He's going to be very helpful for us. Good, because we can't stand to lose another one. Right, back pages are starting to come out and I'm going to bring them to you as indeed when they come in. So stick with us. The war chest was a box of Furbies. Look, they put the bid in. It was accepted. And I feel like we'd pay the money if Caicedo is up for it. I feel like we truly will pay the money. If we had 111 million, why did we just pay the 55 to Southampton, or am I missing something? Honestly, Falkirk, Byrne, I really feel like there was a line in the sand for Liverpool numerically, that they just thought there was no value there. And look, it is weird, right? You get close to 50, you get to 46 and then walk away. But our number could have been 40, and 46 could have been a real last push. But we've shown before, and to be fair, City have done this a little bit as well. There are numbers that if the club don't see value there, they'll leave. And we've shown that we've left a £46 million bid and put in a £111 million bid. So it is, as you've said, confusing, but I still can't get past this one simple thing. Knowing how Liverpool have acted in the transfer market, I don't think we would have bid without some type of encouragement from the player. It's a simple thing that I keep saying, but I think it's solid. Why you wouldn't do it? You wouldn't put in a bid for a player if you knew he wanted to go elsewhere. It just doesn't make sense. How much is the Google Pixel thing worth? Haven't got a clue, mate. That's the God's honest truth. Do you think Darwin will stay over the next years? Personally, I can't see him taking Gakpo's spot. Will he stay if he can't get into the team much? It's up to him now, Aaron. It's up to Darwin. He has to fight for his place. He has to learn to press as Klopp wants him to. He has to work on his English, and he has to work on his finishing. But he'll have every chance to succeed. It's up to him now. And I hope he does, because yeah, I like the kid. I want him to succeed. No player is bigger. Don't forget that. I'm damn right, Philip. You're right on that, mate. No player is bigger. And again, this just adds to my belief that like we wouldn't just stay around to annoy Chelsea. And the fact that you've seen Paul Joyce, James Pearce, and 2 or 3 other journalists come out and say that Liverpool aren't walking away. Liverpool aren't just leaving this. Liverpool aren't letting Chelsea have their way. Don't worry. We're waiting for the news. It takes a while to get all this stuff gathered as well, so I get it. I'm waiting for the news to come through as well, but the guys have to get it, bring it. You know, it's not just a matter of at 8:30 or 10:30, everything's there. The lads have to get all the stuff, get it together and bring it across. So, might be a few minutes, but don't worry, we've got you. Same. A lot of people feel the same. It just, like, there's no benefit to Liverpool to stay in this if we know that the player has absolutely no interest. There really isn't. So, the fact we're still in this surely makes us feel, or the club must feel, like they've got Chelsea's number on it. Craig, I respect you. You're the best. High hopes. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Yeah, look, sometimes you just have to look at life with a bit of maybe life experience and try and figure this stuff out. And we're all winging it. All of us here tonight are winging it when we try to figure out what on earth is going on, because it's a pretty unprecedented circumstance. Am I hopeful on Caicedo? I don't know. That's the truth. Am I hopeful? I don't know. The only thing that gives me hope is that we haven't walked away, that we're still at the negotiating table, and that we're still the only one with a bid accepted. Thank you, Stacey, and everybody else with the kind words in there. So I've just messaged the lads to just check. So far, the only thing that's come out has been the Thiago stuff from Paul Joyce. So the lads are checking. What's the embargo news about? So the newspaper journalists, when they interview Jurgen Klopp at his press conference during the day, there's some stuff that goes out straight away, and there's other stuff that's embargoed that can't get released by the press till after 10:30 at night. That's what the embargoed stuff is. You're so bitter. I don't think you understand the meaning of the word bitter. But let me flip that for you. You're a dope. People who have no argument say bitter and salty because you don't have... Well, you don't have the brain cells to actually debate me. That's the truth. Like, if you think I'm salty, tell me why. Instead of just saying I'm salty. And I will happily engage with you. But to come in and insult me or anybody else, you're not going to get anything but a ban. You're just wasting your time. Do you mind me asking what news will come out at 10:30? I just explained that, Aaron. So, you've got the newspaper stories for tomorrow's newspapers. You've got the journalists embargoed sections from the press conferences that they have to hold off until after 10:30 to release that. You don't know how good you are at this. I don't get it. I've never got it, Stefan. You know, other people are very confident about their abilities and what we do here. I don't know why people watch. I shouldn't say that, but I don't. But I'm grateful. And I'll try my best. That's all I can ever say. I do think something is up, like you've said. You're 95% right. Thank you. DGJ Ghost Blins. Appreciate you. You're not salty. I can be salty. Jesus, especially at referees. I'm very salty in the heat of the moment in a game. But on the transfer stuff, I'm just trying to be honest and give my true understanding of how I see a situation. Is this delay tactics to annoy us as no bid has come from Chelsea, so he won't play for us on Sunday? Was it possible for medical to be done on time? Excuse me. So in order for the player to be registered for anyone today, he would have had to have been signed and registered at the Premier League's offices before midday on the Friday. So the Daily Mail are saying Chelsea are in the driving seat to sign Caicedo from Brighton, despite Liverpool on Friday having a bid accepted what would have been a British record. Again, like... I'm gonna bite my fucking tongue. A lot of journalists here telling us what might happen, but Chelsea are in the driving seat. How? How can a journalist just come out and say Chelsea are in the driving seat when they're clearly not? We're the only ones with a bid accepted. So this is just brown-nosing shite from another London-centric journalist. If you know something, say it. And if you don't, shut the fuck up. It's that simple. If you know that he wants Chelsea and you've got proof to say that Brighton are willing to accept the bid, that the bid is coming and that it will be one accepted by Brighton and two Liverpool won't counter, say it. But this vagueness is just spoofery. And I see through it because it's bollocksology. You either got something to say or you don't. But I'd love to know the ones who are actually pushing a certain agenda. I really would love to know. Because I hope some of these journalists' credibility goes out the window. Because a lot of people over the last 24 or 48 hours have very clearly nailed their colours to the mast. And the perception of impartiality has been removed from a certain group of journalists over the last 24 hours. Alex said, I hope we get him, and we're still in for it, but I don't know what's taken so long to counter our bid. What's taken so long is they can't afford it. That's what's taking so long. They are doing everything. They will be right now, I'm sure, sitting there thinking about what players can we get rid of? Who can we kick out the door? Who can we agree a fee for? Who can we cut their wages? It's not conducive to a stable run club. And Liverpool are sitting back knowing we've bid, it's accepted, and that's where we're at the minute. Again, I would really love to hear from Brighton on this. I'd love to hear from them if they're even going to willing to listen to another offer, or if they're going to be true to their word. Because again, I'm going to remind you, Liverpool or Chelsea didn't come up with the deadline. Brighton came up with a deadline. The deadline was 12 p.m. last night. Sealed bids went in. Liverpool were the highest. This is where we are. But then all day it's just been Todd Bowley, Chelsea and all the little fanboys who are doing his bidding, are just trying to destabilise the crap out of everything while they try to puff flames out in the background and somehow find money that the world knows they don't really have to get a transfer that, again, why didn't they do this 3 months ago? Chelsea have had all summer to get Caicedo and they haven't done it. And it's taken us to get to 111 million for them to suddenly get serious. So let's see what happens. I'd love Chelsea to go with 115 and Liverpool to go with 116. Just to be a shithouse. I just joined the stream. What have I missed? A lot of uncertainty, Benjamin, is what you've missed, mate. A lot of ups and downs. A lot of people not knowing what's going on. Because all day we've been told by the Chelsea-friendly journalists, the bid's coming. Chelsea are going to... Oh, Chelsea are in the driving seat. Chelsea are going to gazump this Liverpool bid. Chelsea are going to bid 115. Chelsea are in the driving seat, but... Motherfuckers, where's the bid? Where's the bid? Where's the money, Todd? Where's the money? And again, Chelsea are already walking a tightrope around profit and sustainability and FFP. So, do you know what nobody's mentioned yet in all of this? You know, be you a Liverpool fan, a Chelsea fan, a United fan, a journalist, whoever. Nobody's asked the Premier League, are they monitoring this? Are they keeping an eye on this situation? Because one thing is very clear. This is not money they can generate. This is not really money that they can afford. No Premier League club can afford it. That's the one part of this I can't get my head around. Is that Richard Masters and the Premier League are sitting back, watching this situation play out, and surely to God, somebody's got to ask the question of, can they really afford this? Is this all above board? Because if Manchester United can't afford to do it, and they are one of the biggest clubs in world football, and Real Madrid can't afford to do it, how are Chelsea with their 40,000 seater stadium and no European football able to do it? And that's before we get into the handy offers they got from friendly Saudi to buy some of their over-the-hill players. Players that were calling them out last season for the champ. They didn't even have enough space in the damn dressing room for their players last year. That's the level of weirdness going on at Chelsea. Chelsea can't go higher because of FFP, said Shaw's Army. Aaron Butler said, check out Francois Plateau tweet. I don't know what a Francois Plateau is. You could have just told me the tweet, Aaron, rather than ask me to check it out because, and I can't repeat this enough, dude, I don't have Twitter because Twitter is a cesspool and I refuse to be on it. But my team does, so if you can point me towards the tweet, I'll happily read it out, but I don't have it, mate. What are your thoughts on the third kit, by the way? It reminds me of washing powder. I don't know why, but that purpley, mauvey, lilac-y colour just reminds me of washing powder. And no shirt sponsors, yes! Chelsea is bigger, don't make me laugh. Fuck you! Chelsea's bigger. Shut up, you absolute clown. Chelsea are bigger than no one. Liverpool are the most successful club in English football history. Liverpool or Manchester United are by far the two biggest clubs in England. Chelsea are an also-ran in this story of football club. Nothing about Chelsea is bigger. Smaller fan base, smaller stadium. I'm guessing, I've got to bite my tongue on that one. But mate, nothing about Chelsea is bigger. Except probably the wage bill and the amount of players they have. But don't make me fucking laugh. Chelsea are bigger. Remember when Thibaut Courtois signed for Real Madrid and he laughed at Chelsea? He said, you look out at Stamford Bridge and all you see is flats. You look out at the Bernabeu and you see fans. So don't make me laugh. I had to put up with your shite about Eden Hazard being better than Salah for years, even though the dude went 2 seasons without scoring a goal. 2 calendar years without scoring a goal. And you tried to tell me that the chubby little chubster was better than Mohamed Salah, a man who has dwarfed those numbers season after season. And with a straight face, you tried to tell me they're bigger than Liverpool? Mate, you don't even believe that shite. I'm a United fan. Why the hell are Chelsea allowed to spend near 1 billion in around a year and not have Premier League sniffing around them? It's a good question, Lewis. It's a very good question. It's a good question, and I think, but they got 200 million back, Lewis. So apparently that covers the near bill. You know what I mean? According to some of the Chelsea fans, that covers everything. That 200 mil they friendly got from Saudi and the money that they got for Kai Havertz from Arsenal. Chelsea are bigger. Would you stop? So big that nobody wants to pay for the shirt sponsorship. Huge club, mate. Who'd you just draw in the chat? Oh, you're not in Europe this season because what? You finished 12th? Big club though. Huge club. Massive. Oh, God. Like, honestly, would you stop? Would you stop? Fabrizio did the same with Mudryk. It's not a coincidence. See, I didn't pay much attention to that because obviously that was an Arsenal-Chelsea battle there for Mudryk. But look, he's being called out a lot tonight, Fabrizio, by a lot of people. And look, I've never been his biggest fan. Full disclosure, I haven't. I don't think he's always been the most well-connected for Liverpool. But he's had a decent summer on Liverpool stuff. I've given Fabrizio credit this summer for some of the deals. He was spot on with the McAllister deal right the way through. But it does seem like there's definitely some shenanigans, in my opinion, with some journalistic approaches to this. I'm not signalling out Fabrizio, by the way. I think a lot of transfer news over the last day or two has stunk to high heavens. Blazing Wolf 2019 said, when I heard Chelsea were trying to get Lavia and Caicedo, I knew something was up. I'm not fully convinced that Chelsea will outbid us. 115 plus 50, no way. It's 115 plus 55 apparently, mate, because the reports were that was the number that got them a deal with Lavia. And by the way, if they've got this deal agreed with Lavia, no announcement, no announcement from Southampton, no announcement from Chelsea. No medical scheduled. Kind of like a bit weird that this deal that they want both the guys and yet neither of them are progressing. Bit weird that. Poor Tyler Adams. Yeah, I read he had his medical. So again, this dude you're on about, just put the tweet in. Just quote his tweet and I'll read it, but I don't have the tweet, so you keep mentioning this dude's name. Just put the tweet in and I'll happily read it for you. Craig, loving your work. Chelsea bigger. It's hilarious. Like, I'll only admit to a handful of clubs being bigger than Liverpool with regards to fan bases or cash generation. United, Real Madrid, maybe Barca. You could make an argument for Bayern Munich, of course, but after that, nah. Alright, here we go. Thank you for this, by the way. Right, so this is coming from this gentleman, Francois Plateau, that you guys have asked me to read out. This says, Liverpool are said to be extremely annoyed by Chelsea and Manuel Sierra's antics over the last 24 hours. Now seriously considering an improved bid for Moises Caicedo in response to Chelsea's long-awaited offer. So, I'm just going to read that out again because that's That's made me very happy. Let me read that one out again for you. I'm preparing them just in case, because we know you love a bit of Craig Nip. Let's get this ready. Liverpool are said to be... It's a spoofer account, you fucking plank. It's a spoofer account, but I read it out anyway. I wish it was true. See, this is what gets us. Apparently that's a spoofer account. There you go. I was ready there. Oh God, I was ready. I wanted to believe. But yeah, look, you get done sometimes with these ones. But you know what? As much as it is a spoofer account by the looks of it, I do wonder if that's how Liverpool feel. Because the agent has been dodgy, to say the least, in how he's conducted himself. But fuck it. Damn, I was looking forward to that one. I thought we were going there. I thought that we were drawing a line in the sand and we were about to engage. Damn it. Damn. I was getting excited there, lads. I won't lie to you. I was thinking, in my head, it was going, 2 tribes go to war. That was playing in my head as I was reading that out. I thought, oh, here we go. Lines are being drawn in the sand. Let the battle commence. Yeah, there's loads of journalists I've never heard of before, by the way, that pop up during this window. So, Iron Man, I think, 89. Thank you for your super chat, buddy. Or Iron M89. I feel very disheartened as a Liverpool fan. I don't think we're winning anything this season. We've become a laughingstock in this Caicedo saga. So, if we don't get him, yeah, it ain't great. And we do look like a bit of a joke. But if we get him, then this window looks very different, right? If we get him and you end up with Caicedo, McAllister and Szoboszlai, I think that's a title challenge team straight away. That's the difference I think that signing could make. It's weird because once we know a player doesn't want us, we tend to move on. As much as I want Caicedo, we aren't a second option. We're Liverpool. Again, I'm going to repeat what I've said all night. If Liverpool were so convinced that he doesn't want Liverpool, we'd have walked away. The fact we're still at the table obviously means Liverpool feel like there's potential here. The most logical thing to do was get Lavia, pay the release clause for Inacio. Unfortunately, can't see FSG doing that. Because I truly don't think Liverpool think he's worth £50 million. Like, looking at it objectively, Cameron, we've got a player in Stefan Bajcetic who is almost as experienced as Romeo Lavia in the Premier League and cost us 300 grand. And we're being asked to pay £50 million for a 19-year-old that has a very high ceiling but was relegated with Southampton. So, I understand that maybe Liverpool don't see value there, but none of this is any good unless you end up with a very good player, right? None of it is. Because if you don't get Lavia and you don't get Caicedo, then you're back to going, what on earth is happening? Like, what are we doing? What is the plan? And there's a very good argument to be made that we shouldn't be in this position. We should have made our signings weeks ago. No way Matt Law just tweeted that Bellamy block. I'm calling you out on that one. Yeah, I very, very, very much doubt that Matt Law tweeted that. And if he did tweet it, I'll find out soon enough. Can our background team check Matt Law to see if he's tweeted anything? Where's the bid? Chelsea are running at it. Where's the bid? Yeah, I know. We've been told it's coming, but I've not seen it yet. Is there a deadline anymore? Truly, it's tough because a lot of people are saying very little at the minute. We don't know what Brighton are doing. Brighton are sitting there saying nothing. So we don't know if Brighton are willing to extend the deadline, if they aren't willing to extend the deadline. No Matt Law tweet. So our friend that said Matt Law tweeted, you're getting banned. Let me go back and find you. Where's the dude that said Matt Law? Because he's getting banned. Yep. There you go. Found you. Sorry, mate. No time for liars here. John Byrne, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC. Appreciate you. Why are we not interested in Zubimendi? Mate, I don't know. You can't ask me why we're not interested in people. I can only talk about the people we are interested in or the links we've had. Can we check Dave O'Cop, lads? Apparently Dave has tweeted something. Love from Michigan. Would Adams be good value for money? Now, I'm not just making this up, Kevin. I did say the other day, I would have been more than happy if Liverpool went out and got Tyler Adams and Lavia, because I don't want Adams to be our defensive midfielder. I don't want him to be the first choice, but I'd be more than happy to have him as a rotational option or as for cover, especially with that relegation clause of, what was it, 20 or 25 million in this Leeds contract. So I wouldn't want him as a first choice defensive midfield player, but I had no problem with us bringing him in as an alternative. So Dave O'Cop has put out a tweet linking to an article to say Brighton CEO unhappy with Caicedo's representatives. He says today's article is further updated. As of now, the Reds are still in with a chance to sign Caicedo. So this has come up in the last, one of them 27 minutes ago, one of them very recently. And again, Dave O'Cop said, Brighton CEO unhappy with Caicedo's representatives. So, again, not as fucking clear cut as certain people are trying to make out. I'm going to read this out to you because we've got the article up here. As per multiple reports, Brighton is said to be livid with the way that Caicedo's representatives have handled the situation. Brighton CEO Paul Barber previously noted the Ecuadorian has not received the best possible advice from those guiding him. It's been reported that Manuel Sierra, the player's agent, told Caicedo to stall this morning after verbal terms were agreed with Liverpool before the record bid went in. So again, Dave is saying here that Liverpool bid on the assumption from the camp of the player that they would happily take the move. I'm going to continue on. Brighton is furious with how Sierra has acted after the terms of the sale were already set. With the auction stage closed due to Liverpool's bid, the new information could suggest that Caicedo's agents could be responsible for the player's hesitation to move. If you want to check that out for yourself, because it's only fair we credit people for their hard work, get yourself over to daveoccop.com. DAVEOCKOP.com, and you can check out Dave's full article over there. I don't know the gentleman, but again, happy to always credit people for their work. So DaveOCCOP.com. Check the whole article out for yourself. And it doesn't surprise me, because it's been shambolic from the way their agency is run. And again, as I pointed out to you earlier on, there was Brighton fans saying that they've always been disgusted with the way his agent has conducted themselves. Loving the content, keep it up. Thank you, man. Because remember, last January, it was all Arsenal, right? The player was down in tools because he wanted Arsenal. Arsenal. Only wanted Arsenal. Didn't happen. Stayed at Brighton. Played football. They did well. They qualified for the Europa League. Then it was Chelsea. But you know what? You know what Chelsea didn't do? Was pay the money Brighton wanted. Liverpool asked the players' representatives. We were given the nod that yes, he's willing to go to Anfield if you pay the fee that Brighton agree with. We did that. We won the bid. And what I'm guessing, and I am guessing, let me make that clear, I'm guessing, is that Todd Bowley has had a word in his agent's ear and upped either a signing on bonus or potentially a higher wage. But something makes me feel like somebody somewhere has a lot to gain financially from this going in one particular direction. That's my guesstimation of how this could be paying out. Do you agree with me? Do you think that I might be on the right track here? Are shenanigans of... No! Do you know what? Damn it! I'm upgrading it from shenanigans to malarkey. It's now officially malarkey. I'm getting serious now. No more shenanigans. It's malarkey. Do you think Liverpool will go for Lavia if they get Caicedo? If Chelsea get both, what do you think Liverpool should do? Do I think Liverpool will go for Lavia if we don't get him? No. Because I don't think they view 50 million as a fair price. So if they walked away at 46, I would be surprised if they went back. Sounds like he's a toxic player then. See, again, we don't... I'm often shocked, by the way, with how much sway an agent has. Like, what we need to remember is he's the player's employee. This is what... Like, the Coutinho situation was another example of this that I don't get. You employ the agent. He's your bitch. And too many agents feel like they've got too much power for my liking. Players need to remember, they work for the players, these agents. So sometimes I do wish the players would grow a pair and stop putting so much faith in some of these agents, because this particular agent could potentially put the kibosh on a move that this young man may have only dreamt of when he was growing up in Ecuador, to play for the likes of Liverpool Football Club in a British transfer record fee. And apparently this agent doesn't deem that good enough for his client. Something stinks. Agents' fees might be the sticking point. Well, look at what Chelsea were being investigated for in the previous ownership this week. Have a look into that yourself and see what conclusion you come to. Now, different ownership group at the time. Have to point that out. Gonna spend 110 on Caicedo. Why not give 90 for Valverde? Because Caicedo's available. I don't mean to try and state the obvious or be a smart arse, Tom, but we don't know that Madrid are willing to listen to an offer for Valverde, for Tchouaméni. We know that Brighton are willing to sell Caicedo for a certain number. We've hit that number. And right now, it seems like Brighton are furious with the agent. I'd say Liverpool are pretty angry with the agent. And I'd be very surprised if he doesn't sack his agent after this transfer, because his agent is making a hames of this. Craig, don't you think it's crazy how David Ornstein hasn't tweeted since he confirmed our bid? Yes. But also, I'd prefer that. So, look, David Ornstein wrote his story last night in good faith. None of us, I don't think otherwise. But I'd rather he stayed silent and wait to figure out exactly what's happening before adding to the speculation. So, as much as obviously you want to hear as much as you can on what's happening, give me that David Ornstein style of journalism over the very, very biased stuff we've seen from some towards trying to make the move to Chelsea happen. So, yeah, would love to hear more from him, but silence is better than bullshit for me anyway. And I like David Ornstein as a journalist. He's following Chelsea on Instagram. So what? I've knocked one out to Mila Kunis at some point. Doesn't mean I'm expecting to wake up next to her tomorrow. If I follow her on social media, what does that mean? That I'm hanging out for Mila Kunis to pop around when the wife's out? Jake T, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, my friend. Right, we're going to go for another 10 minutes and then we're going to call it a night, because if stuff doesn't come out in the next 10 or 15 minutes, I don't see much more coming out tonight, in all honesty. And if it does, you know I'll be back. I'm sitting around all night anyway, but we're going to carry on. So keep your questions coming in for the next 10 minutes or so. This isn't the first criticism I've heard about his agent, by the way. Yeah, it's not the first. Are you streaming full-time on YouTube? Yes, we're fully on YouTube, Slapstick. All of our content will be on YouTube moving forward. Thank you, Footzone. Much love, man. Appreciate you. You have a way with words. I think if there's one thing us Irish people can do, it's talk. You know, I've said this to many people over the years. The more vicious people are towards you in Ireland, probably the more they like you. You know, we're a weird old race of people, us Irish. We go in on our best mates harder than anybody else because it's a kind of weird sign of respect. If Chelsea are serious, where's their bid? It's a fair question, Turfer. It's a very fair question. Where's the money, Todd? Where's the money? So I also have a question for John that I'd like to rephrase a little bit, because you know my famous line at this point about John. My new question for John is, where was the money, John? Where was the money? Are we still going for Romeo Lavia? So, Ibby, the honest answer to that question is, it's been reported that Chelsea have an agreement with Southampton. Now, I've not seen this publicised by Southampton. I've not seen this confirmed publicly by Chelsea I'm aware of. But it was reported by a lot of friendly Chelsea journalists that, or media I should say, that they agreed between 52 and 55 million, depending on what you read, deal for Lavia. And that they wanted Lavia and Caicedo. Now make this make sense to me, because I'm only a thick old Irishman. If you can't afford to pay 110 million for Caicedo, which they couldn't last night, they got to 100 million, couldn't afford any more, and you have a 25 million pound offer accepted for Tyler Adams, and you pull out of that, how does spending 165 million make sense when you couldn't do more than 125 yesterday? Make it make sense, because it does not add up. If they couldn't afford it yesterday and they've now agreed an even higher amount for two players, where the fuck did the money come from? If Caicedo doesn't happen for Liverpool, who should we go for? PS, my screen name is Iron M89 because I love Iron Maiden. Ah, nice. Yeah, sweet. Thank you, man. Where would we go? Where would we go? Florentino Luis would be my own preference from Benfica if we wanted to go and spend money on another solid defensive midfielder. And cheers. I love the input from your username, by the way. I do like to know how people came up with them, so thank you. A23 said, I'll make a prediction. There will be a sudden news of Chelsea signing Lavia and they won't say anything to Brighton. They'll not want to admit they can't find the legal money for Caicedo. That's I agree with you. That's where I think this ends up, by the way. I do think that what you've said there could well happen. They end up with Lavia because I don't think Liverpool would be hanging around if they felt like Chelsea could really back up what they're offering. Which, well, actually, they haven't actually offered it yet, have they? We've just been told how much they're going to do. We've been told that, like, right now, Chelsea and a lot of the friendly media are like that lad who's telling you he's going to kick the shit out of you. He's standing in front of you talking about all the things he's going to do to you, going to break your nose, going to split your head open, going to knock you into next week, but yet not doing a damn thing. Just standing there giving it all that. And then the guy you actually need to worry about comes out of nowhere and sparks you out cold. That's what I feel Chelsea are right now. That angry little dude jumping up and down in front of you, you know, Wheelstone Raider type vibes. That dude. That's how I feel Chelsea are right now. I think Chelsea get their money from a simulator, said Turfer. Where do I think this ends up, honestly? I said earlier on that I've probably got no feckin' rhyme or reason to say this, but I still think we get Caicedo. And I've nothing to back that up. Like, I don't know anything I'm holding back on that regard. Mads Angels, thank you for your super chat. Like, I do feel like Liverpool are calling Chelsea out on this. I feel like John W. Henry and Liverpool are sitting here now going, put up or shut up. Right, I'm going to call it a night because I don't think we're going to get anything else at this late hour. And I will be back if anything happens. So keep your eye out for a video. Thank you again for coming in tonight. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button before you head off. If you haven't done so, please do. I thought it was Todd Nanigans. Could be. David Leslie, thank you for the super chat. Jake said I missed the super chat. 1 second, Jake. Turfer. Jake, I did, right, sorry. He said, do you think Chelsea are going to bid last minute like us? Well, apparently midnight last night was the deadline, Jake. And Liverpool hit that deadline. So we won the bid. Brighton chose midnight last night. So, you know, from that perspective, we've won the bid. Right, one more last thing here coming from David Maddock from the Mirror. Liverpool are refusing to give up on Caicedo transfer as questions arise over Chelsea's compliance with Premier League regulations. See? Didn't I say to you that this stinks? None of this makes sense to me. We have the money, we should get Kimmich if all else fails, said Bradley Witham. Thank you, Bradley. Right, look, we're going to leave it there. Keep an eye out for a video getting uploaded in a while. Tomorrow's my day off, but if anything happens, I'll jump on, even though it's the day off. And much love to all of you. Please do hit that subscribe button before you head off and help us on our journey towards 200,000, sorry. And Paul Martin, welcome to Anfield Agenda FC, sir. Look, I'm going to go. You guys are awesome. Love you guys so much. Thank you for your support. And